I am Iron Man. I am Iron Man. Ha! That's what Tony Stark says at the end. Spoilers: Tony Stark's Iron Man.
I just realised my switching microphone, so that might sound different.
Oh, you're a little bit bassier, darling.
Oh,
I like it. I like bassy Duncan.
Sorry, I realised it was coming out of my MacBook and not out of my Rode mic. What I have here, Iron Rand.
Iron Rand. I am Iron Rand.
I am Iron Rand.
That would be quite a dour film. I would imagine.
Hello, everyone. Sorry. Welcome back to...
Yeah, that felt like a bit of a sideways kind of thing, but I'm here for it, as the kids say. I'm here for it. Hey gang, how you doing? I've had contact lens issues, so I'm technically blind in one eye, and it's the eye closest to the chat. So I'm going to be doing this a lot, probably, just to help. Like Nick Fury, who's in the post-credits scene of this film, famously.
Yes. I'll keep an eye on the chat then, shall I?
I can see it. It's just a bit of a strain sometimes, so I do my best. I try to be reactive. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I really like this film, man. I've got bags of time for this film, and I think it's a really interesting film for a number of reasons that we'll get into. I think the production of this film, the way it was handled, and the way Favreau handled the material behind the scenes, as well as in front of the camera, is really interesting. I think it's got a hell of a lot going for it. I think it gets kind of forgotten about because it's just seen as this kind of generic kind of... people don't like Marvel as a thing. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people do like statistically. You can see it in the money, but lots of people don't like it. They said they're all the same and stuff. But there was a phase where they were hiring interesting directors who were doing interesting things, and Favreau, as the kind of first person to do that, I think did very interesting stuff with it. But we'll get into that when it's playing and we have pressed play on it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I suppose the thing is because it's the proto Marvel thing. I suppose it's like, the very much the kind of Doctor No of it all. So I think people probably do get a bit fed up going back to it. And,
Jon Favreau calls it a kind of fusion of RoboCop and James Bond, which I really like because it's got that kind of globe-trotting thing, and it's got the kind of sort of chunky feel of RoboCop. I mean, the film itself feels being these kind of large yet digestible pieces, which I've always really liked. So I kind of have this weird feeling of where I know where I stand with this movie.
Yeah,
it's got a nice combination of kind of the CGI and the practical by Stan Winston's team. So everything has a lot of weight to it. I think, the performances are really solid. I think they've just built such a lovely universe with it. Definitely you can see they would 100% weren't planning on having fucking wizards and space battles. This is all like quite wants to be realistic. And I think Favreau said that at the time, so they were planning on a more kind of realistic take because this is, after the Dark Knight of it all. And then before you know
it was pre-Dark Knight actually, but it was post.
Oh, sorry, Batman Begins. Pardon me.
Yeah.
But before you know it, Tony Stark's friends with a raccoon. So that didn't quite really go the way they.
I mean, in a way though, it's like I remember seeing it because I was still in Batman Begins mode when I saw it, and it was like. I was like, oh, what? Like, robots just build his suit for him, do they? I was like, right. And it does play,
I like snarky past Duncan a lot.
Yeah. Right. And it was, it does kind of play into the whole kind of, like, I think it is a bit heightened. Like, it's still.
Definitely. It's kind of 5 minutes in the future, isn't it? Because it's hologram displays and intelligent robots and things like that. So, yeah, it's not like, it's grounded on its own kind of terms. We have just had $2 from Ryder, who says, high flops. I don't know what that means. Okay, thanks.
Either he's calling us flops. Or...
Oh no, he's that guy who kept complaining about us doing Terminator or whatever. Hi Ryder, nice for you to come. I hope you're talking about our flaccid penises, which we'll get out for you in a moment if you so desire, having paid us $2. Do we have
Andrew Captain sent us £10, and Sam Dewberry sent us £5 and it says, "Evening fellas, here's a blue beer voucher. Hope I can last the evening. I've been run ragged today. I think my employees are trying. I think my employers are trying to kill me. Ironic, since they're the NHS."
Right. Okay. Yeah, Sam was in on Sunday for the private watch party. Thanks to everyone who came to the watch party on the $5 tier. That was bags of fun. You'll be very excited to know, everybody, that we're back with more Alien Isolation on Sunday, part 4. I love it because you don't even have to be there. You're just like, fucking hell. That will take us into some. By the end of it, Duncan, we should be well into our 12th or 13th hour, which I think represents very good.
I'm sure I will. I'll probably have a few bevies on When you doing it Saturday?
Saturday, yeah, Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll probably chime in at some point and generally be obnoxious when you least expect it.
Please,
I like to keep Ivan on his toes
Good.
because I like to say something outrageous as it's slipping up the comments, and then he's always quick on the draw. He's like, Duncan goes, damn.
He's
trying to get that in.
Duncan just keeps typing baby cunt or Nazi dick all the time, and Ivan has something right in there.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Or I'll log in with the Val Verde account and really mess with you.
That would be quite fucked up, yeah. If you just, I quite like the idea of us sort of passive aggressively falling out and cancelling each other's streams from within.
Would I just surreptitiously change the title? So like Richard has a small penis or something. Just like
Bull cunt is crap at game.
Man yells at cloud. For no reason.
Man yells at cloud. Yeah, so tune in on Saturday evening, everyone, from 8, because Duncan might just sabotage the whole fucking thing for a jolly, which would be entirely up to him. You know.
Also, I won't do that, but I will probably chime in and say something if I remember from a week.
Well, that'll be happening anyway, so that's going to be fun. I think we'll finish it this time. I've certainly got. That's quite good. That always turns into a therapy session, and it usually ends up with people's kind of disturbing stories from school, or of course poo stories, which is also what happened at the private stream on Sunday, which is what one of you are missing out on. It's more poo talk. Do you want to super chat from Annalise? Good old Annalise. Do you want to read that one?
Oh, Annalise. Evening, guys. Sorry, PayPal's giving me issues tonight. Please don't apologise. Thanks for another excuse for weeknight drinking. Hope you're having a nice week. Thank you. Cheers. Richard isn't. Richard is teetotaling. I am sort of not because
not, yeah.
I'm only having a couple of beers, but I my excuse this week is it's my birthday next week.
So next Thursday, I'll have a bevy with you next Thursday. I've just been trying to not weekday drink because I've been eating salads and crying myself to sleep. You know, standard.
I do that as well, but and I work out, but it's just Thursday night. It's the start of the weekend for me, except that I have to work tomorrow.
Right, right. I've realised my solution to my contact lens problem is to do this.
I've just seen in the chat. Completely, I'm sure, to me, apropos of nothing, but it seems to be part of a conversation going on from John Doe. I don't know why my eyes just settled on it, but it just says, poo finds a way. And I don't know what that has to do with, or whatever.
I don't mind. It's an excuse to have good old Jeff in, isn't it?
Colin McLean. Sorry.
No, carry on. I'm trying to read like an idiot and I can't see it.
Colin McLean says March the 30th I have the same birthday as Comrade Duncan. Yes, you do. Very good. Very good.
This is where Duncan numerically catches up with me, and then I could be smug for another 6 months.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have this thing where like for 6 months of the year I'm only 1 year older than.
Oh no, 9 months. 9 months. Sorry, it's December.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No. So for half the year I'm only 1 year older than my wife, but for 6 months of the year I'm 2 years old.
You can't win, mate. You really can't. Well, you get to have it over me. There's something in that, isn't there?
There's
someone over whom you get that glorious 3 months of being a fresh-faced child baby next to this wizened scrotum sucking on his chamomile tea.
Nothing makes you look like a wizened scrotum sucking on chamomile tea quite like holding yourself up to your progeny and realising just how not young you look. But it's fine. That's like the looking into the sun with a telescope of age comparisons, though, isn't it? You don't want to play that game.
Yes. That's absolutely. The super chat from Blue Lightning 666, which is a name I don't recognise. I'm going to Nick Fury it. This is the budget white Nick Fury. Evening, gents. Hope you're both well. Apologies if you've been asked this already. Do either of you have a favourite film within the MCU? Would you like to go first? You got a favourite MCU, maybe?
Probably. Yeah, not really. I mean, Winter Soldier, maybe, or
Winter Soldier's very good. That would be in my top 5.
It's up there. I enjoy that. I enjoy so many of them. I mean, there are duds like that I don't enjoy, but like Winter Soldier, and I liked Civil War, and I like the pretty much all the Avengers movies apart from. I mean, Age of Ultron was okay, but it just seems so sort of superfluous. Like it's the least important one to watch now.
I can't watch it. I find it too fucking boring.
Yeah.
I like this film very much. I like Winter Soldier. I think was superb. Thor Ragnarok, man. I love Taika Waititi, and I just thought he brought over his sensibility. James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I really, really like. The second one is fine. It's fine.
The second one's alright, man. Like, it got panned, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be shit. And then I watched it, and I was like, no, this is good.
That's too much. It's too much.
It drags in the middle, but I mean, it's fine. Like, it's a good. I enjoyed it.
I think Kurt Russell as Chris Pratt's dad is a bit of superb casting. I think that's really good stuff. We've got shit, man. There's super chats coming in. Like fucking hell.
I can read them for you if you.
I think yes.
Okay. The Wing Comic Exchange sent £10. Thank you, and says always knew Richard was a bit of a winker.
Excellent timing. I can't fault the timing on that. I had my hand up and everything. I'll take it. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I just sometimes get irritation in my eyes, and without my special hospital created contact lenses, I'm basically profoundly blind. But only in 50% today, and today's not running day, so I didn't like wheeze on any passers-by or anything, so that was fun. Another super chat. Jesus Christ.
Ash GCG, which sounds like a vaccination, but then I think everything does these days, sends us £10 and says, haven't had the chance to add my number to the views of your recent vids. Sorry, it's been an absolute arse water of a week. Wish you all the best. Thank you, mate. Well, I'm sorry. I hope next week is less of an arse water, and that you move to the gooch.
You've given me a bit of a jolly laugh, so that's fine. Yes, move to the gooch. That's the one. I might. Do you know what? I might open the window. I'm fucking roasting, man. Things are getting warmer. Yeah, I've got shorts on and everything. Wait,
I think you're quite a hot-blooded person, though, because anyone so for those of you who don't know, which is basically all of you apart from I guess Steve if he's here. Is that when you go around Richard's house, all the windows are open, even in the dead of winter, and the heating is nowhere to be found, and it is just an Arctic. It's like you could probably keep penguins in there, and they'd be fine.
I am constantly too hot.
Yeah,
I'm constantly too hot. Yeah, I know it's weird. I think I think it comes from my mum's side of the family, but yeah, I'm constantly too fucking hot.
Must be Scottish. I don't know. Ryder sends us $2 and says, "Hey, blind."
I think Ryder likes insulting us, but kind of the joke's on you if you give us money for the privilege. Keep going. I mean, say some more stuff. Say more worse stuff, Ryder. Because if you're going to pay, that's absolutely fine. That's your privilege. Good for you.
Good for you, Ryder. Good for you.
Good for you.
Good for you. It's Thursday night and you're on some fucking YouTube channel that's throwing insults, but paying for it. So, it's like a sort of a carbon offset type deal.
Oh, yeah. Instead of giving to a charity, I just throw money at a super chat and call someone a prick.
Exactly. I pay for my insults. It's right.
That's fine. I mean,
sort of karmic balance is restored.
I've got to say that's new on me. I mean, I've been insulted on YouTube more times than I care to count, but no one's ever paid me for the privilege. So fine, yeah. That's absolutely fine. I open my window. I'm fucking roasting here. Give me a second.
Yeah, go ahead. What else? I lost it. Whenever I'm cold, I say the Zoidberg line, at least you're not cold-blooded. I don't know. Oh, I see, yes, very good. I can't pay. A buffet! If only I had my wallet.
I'm down for whatever.
What's the thing he says, all sorts of, about boxes or whatever, and he goes, I found all sorts of things in boxes. And one time, pepperoni. Oh, what a day that was.
I love the horrendous tragedy of Zoidberg.
He's
the saddest creature in all of existence.
The worst one is the one where it's like mating season on his planet, and he goes, and it's like, and he gets rejected by all the females and stuff. And then Fry gets laid with his fishy, really fancies and stuff. It's hilarious.
Oh, Fry's such a dirtbag.
Yeah. Because there's the one where where he gets it on with that bureaucrat woman who's loves everything neat and tidy, but actually turns out she's like, you're so repulsive.
Well, let's never forget that he had sex with his own nan as well.
That's true.
Which
Yeah,
is probably the
did
dirtbaggest.
Did quote unquote the nasty in the past.
I mean, much to the pleasure of once removed of Sigmund Freud, his nan was quite hot, so there is that.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, as far as cartoon ladies go. Asparagus video. Asparagus video. That's Mark sends $5 and says, "You're awesome, you stupid slags." Which
you stupid slag.
Yes, because I think Mark posts up film clips all the time, and he's I think he chucked up RoboCop 3 the other day. You've killed us, you stupid slag! Or
you stupid slag!
The mighty John Castle. James Liddell, evening lads. Happy birthday, Duncan, for next week. Have a beer on me, says James. That's £5 from James.
Thank you.
Very kind.
Thank you very much, James. I want that taken out because it is for me.
It was marked for me. I'll deduct Google's 30% before I pass it. I would really love to do that and send it to you as cash in an envelope. That'd be fun.
Yeah, with like coppers and shit.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm so down for that. Just posting cash to you. I think our person counter has frozen because we actually have 107 people in the room, but the person counter stuck at 38.
Yes.
35. I'm gonna kill that because it makes it looks like there are less people at our party than there actually are. Fewer people.
Fewer.
I'm gonna have to kill that. My little number box. What a shame. Where are you? There you are. How peculiar. Oh well. Well, peculiar. Has anything of note become of you this week? Anything happened?
Just more tiredness, more general busy. Like lots of real busyness. But I was asked to do an interview, which actually I've had the questions sent to me and stuff. I was asked to do an interview for a fairly big gamer YouTube channel.
Last time bald. I love it when people use bald as an insult, like I haven't noticed. They say, I know, I live here.
yeah, it's like there are no reflective surfaces in your house. Like, and also, you do know he chooses to shave his head.
Yeah, and you just paid me money.
Brilliant.
Great.
For more bits.
Our biggest fan. Thanks for your money, you chump. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, no, so I've got to do that, and then trying to,
That's quite cool though. That's the exciting thing that's happening. So they were like this is all about. Did you just say what it was about? I got.
Oh, well, Erica.
Yeah. So I suppose if it's you and gaming, it will be, or maybe soon there'll be more gaming things to talk about.
There will be.
It's exciting.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. It's so I mean, it's So yes, basically yes, but I haven't heard. I've not heard anything on that for a while now, so I don't know what's.
Okay, I'm sure it's just COVID shit, isn't it? James Liddell is given $3.99, and he has said that is specifically for Duncan's beer.
Right.
That will be going in the envelope, and I will take my Dremel and cut up fractions of a penny. A, in reference to Superman 3, but B, just because when you take things away in thirds, it creates awkward fractions, and I will be giving you the fractions of it. And then at some point, if this continues, you'll be able to assemble whole pennies and take them to the bank, which I assume that's how that works. Well,
I believe at one stage the copper content of pennies and pennies and like 2p's was greater than the sum of what they were worth.
Wow.
So the weight of copper, I believe that was I don't think it is now, but yeah. That's
a frightening prospect, isn't it? It's kind of worse than finding out there's no gold behind the currency. It's like, oh, okay.
Right. Let's buy Bitcoin then.
Yes, exactly. I have some Dogecoin.
Okay, yeah.
Because my bro went in on Dogecoin, and I never ever gamble, and I went, fuck it, here's 20 quid. And it's kind of gone since I got
all those new coins do, but they're basically pegged to the Bitcoin. I mean, because I've got some in Bitcoin, I've got some in Ether, I've got some in Bitcoin Cash, I've got some in, I fiddle about, not in any major way, but just most of it. I mean, it generally goes up. I mean, I've made money on it, but it's like it's one of those things. It's much like gold and silver. You just have to leave it. It's just put it in and forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, you can either do that, or you can do the whole thing that like some people do, where they buy it. If you're playing markets and you're used to it, you identify where it's going to bottom out, you buy there, identify where it's going to, and you do all that business and you sell etc. But who has the fucking time?
That's like having a money Tamagotchi, and I'm not here for it. I don't want to put that level of effort in.
No.
And that's why you're poor, Richard. It's like a money investment's just money Tamagotchis. I can't be bothered to feed him. Oh fucking hell! Well, finance. I'm glad we covered that. I've been kind of busy as well. I mean, because obviously there's the stuff we do together, but I've had a few other things.
Yes.
Here's and there's. Things seem to be. I've had a few offers this week actually, and I've had another COVID test. Come back to the airport on Friday, and then I'm back again next week to the airport, and then I'm going to do a job with a florist, and then I've had some interest for a centenary for a corporate in September, so that's kind of good. This is from silence for months.
September, we're going to have to book you in then, because we've got you and I are potentially around there.
Yeah. Well, let's see, because obviously that takes priority. I can send people in my stead. That's the thing. I'll send people in my stead to take a commission if I'm not free myself.
Cool.
Oh, that reminds me as well. If you are on Patreon, my series about making money as a filmmaker, he just said after saying there's only bookings for ages. So he wants to be a filmmaker. That had third episode this week, and there is a fourth one coming on Monday, and then there will be more. That's for the $3 tier and up, and that series will continue when there's going to be a live component to that with Q&A and everything. So stay tuned for that. The next one I talk about my work uniform and how to present yourself on a set or a site. It's exciting. Sooner or later I'm going to have to talk about taxes and admin and health and safety and insurance, liability insurance. People are just tumescent at the prospect. We've got No, go for it. Go.
Adam Towel and Tire says, I think Richard deserves a drink as well. Hope you're well, fellas. I disagree, but I
disagree.
Respectfully. I hear what you're saying. But,
I will. Again, Adam, I will take that out as cash and spend it on me.
Post it to myself.
Post it to myself. I was paid for the stamp from my own money to avoid taking a bit of the time. And post it to myself. I did post something to myself when I was a kid for a laugh, just to see if it happened. And I say a laugh, it turned up. I was like, oh, that works. Why wouldn't it? You just put a post box. Like I thought it was going to be like Time Cop when he creates a paradox by touching himself. Not touching himself. There's not a wanking scene in Time Cop that causes a paradox. But yeah, that clearly kid having a whale of a time. I was.
I mean, yeah, that's one of those. Like, you sort of wish there was a postman who took it out and went. Because in America that's what would happen, right? Because they have post boxes at the end of the
end of your drive. Yeah.
Put it back in.
Because in my mind, the postman, who has no idea where it's came from, like any other letter to address, would go, what? But of course, that's the kind of slightly cartoonish childhood experience.
Basically, you caused a giant an unnecessary carbon emissions by having it sent to the sorting office to have it sent back to you.
I actually put my name and address and a stamp on a burning tractor tyre and sent that to myself.
And then Dave Angel made it. What was the what's it? Philately, or people who collect stamps. Philately, my dear. I don't give a damn. That's my stepdad used to engage in that, and I think he said stamps were more valuable if they had a postmark on them or something. So he used to do shit like that, like send things to himself.
Right.
Anyway,
okay.
So you're basically...
I avoided... Hey, the thing is, though, no, make a joke about me being a stamp collector. I actually did love trains and get my dad to take me train spotting. But I didn't know what train spotting was. I thought train spotting was my dad would just stand with me whilst we look at trains. I didn't realise you were supposed to write the thing down. And,
I was totally the same. Dad, if you're in the chat, I'm sure he'll look a bit like we used to go... The Nene Valley Railway, which is not far from I was all about steam trains, man, and trains, but steam trains.
Same. There you go. So.
And I think I said I wanted to be a train driver when I grew up.
So did I. That's so fucking.
There you go. But fuck that thing. Right.
Fuck None of the romance. Fuck that.
How they do what they do for such rubbish money. Was it just like, about £50, which to someone like you, I would imagine is about a week's pay. That's a Partridge reference. It's not a Duncan reference.
Yes.
Joe Zilla sent us $5 and says Sho Kushigi had one eye in Ninja 3, The Domination. I assume that means Richard is a ninja. Just to be safe, Duncan as well.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Right.
Yeah, I am a. Hold on. I'm not a ninja, but this is what everybody pays their money for.
What is going on? Oh, okay.
I'm a sort of very down market lucha libre wrestler in this terrifying mask. This did come from Bolivia and reflects that country's manufacturing standards, sadly. It kind of digs into your eyes. It sort of looks like a kind of Wish.com Wolverine type thing, but I assure you I could probably make a character name.
It looks more like the Atlanteans or whatever from Aquaman.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I'm Willem Dafoe. Look at me, I'm Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Mark Flanagan sent $5 dues and says, "Hope Baby Pepper is doing well." Don't know what you mean. Can you comment on how hero movies work or don't work as successors to 80s and 90s action? Also, Pierce as Dr. Fate.
Oh yeah, Pierce is Dr. Fate in DC. Did you hear that?
No.
So in Shazam 2, Pierce Brosnan's going to be Dr. Fate.
Oh, very good.
That's really exciting,
Okay.
and because I'm really excited about that, mostly because of the tone of that movie and how fun that movie was, and I want to see Pierce Brosnan doing a big fun magician thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, he was sort of, because he was sort of like, didn't people think he was going to be Cable at one point?
Yes.
Just because there was a picture of him and Ryan Reynolds and
That would have been so fucking awesome.
Josh Brolin.
That'd have been so fucking awesome. It would have.
It would. I mean, I actually think Josh Brolin. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do get fed up with seeing the same people over and over again, but I do like Josh Brolin, and I did like him in that film.
Yes.
And it was funny because obviously at one point he could go, "Hey Thanos, get your whatever off me." You know, it was like,
he calls him John Connor as well because of his time travel stuff.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So fair enough.
But that broad thing was about the kind of modern superhero films as successors to 80s and 90s action or not.
I see.
It's kind of
I don't
tricky.
know what the Baby Pepper thing.
No.
Oh, like as in, does he mean like Morgan from Morgan Stark? I'm reaching.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Hope Baby Pepper is doing well.
Oh. I don't know. Just awkward silence. I don't know. That's all I can give you. That's all I can give you.
Explain yourself.
Explain yourself. Well, in terms of successors to 80s and 90s action, I think it depends on movie to movie, doesn't it? Because Thor Ragnarok appeared to lean into kind of the 80s aesthetic, but sort of didn't really. This film has definitely more of a pure action film vibe. I think Iron Man 3 does as well. And then it's like, do you count Batman as an action film? Or, The Shadow? Or The Phantom? And those types of things?
I think they're definitely in that genre. I mean, they obviously they sort of. It's much like, like it's one of those sort of. I suppose it's not a subgenre. It's almost like an umbrella genre of superhero in that it can incorporate action, thriller, crime, blah blah blah. I would call it. Yeah, it's more like an umbrella genre.
Because they overlapped that. Because I mean, a lot of the 90s comic book films and 80s, some 80s were very preoccupied with noir. Like The Shadow and The Phantom and Batman had big noir elements, but also kind of science fiction-y stuff in them. I mean, this leans really heavily into science fiction, but it's also kind of not really a spy film. It feels spy-ish because there's elements of sneaking around and stealing data and stuff like that. And then anything with S.H.I.E.L.D. in, because like fucking Winter Soldier's really spy movie orientated, and they've got Robert Redford in there. Which has
Robert Rodford,
the 9,000-year-old man.
Mark says, I mean like Pepper Potts from this movie, but that sort of just raises further questions. I don't really... Baby Pepper.
Oh, that's a line of dialogue from the film, I think. And we've just been... Look, we've fallen at the first hurdle. First reference, we haven't got it. Oh, well. Very sorry there, sir. I don't know, but in terms of... Because I think something like Iron Man 3 specifically goes Lethal Weapon for a bit, where Don Cheadle and Downey Jr. run around and do Lethal Weapon things for a little bit, and they run around a villa and stuff, and it's a buddy cop film because it's directed by Shane Black, and Shane Black was approached for this one, and because Favreau's friends with Shane Black, but Shane Black didn't do it, but he ended up doing 3. But Favreau really wanted Downey Jr. because of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Junior,
Just his name's Junior.
It's a great movie.
Did you know Robert Downey Jr. is the baby from the film Junior? And
I did know that.
You did know that. It's just a well-known fact.
It's
just a well-known fact. Should we kick off? It's half past.
Let's do it. I'm getting mine. I'm using your Disney Plus account.
Don't tell the mouse; he'll kick my door in and kill me.
It says, the whole stream goes there. Resume. So you've been watching this, have you?
Yeah, I logged in and scrubbed forward a bit. So I think, unless someone else has watched it. To be fair, my family have my account as well. We're on Disney Plus, everybody. But we'll give you a minute to get your copy of Iron Man together and on point and ready. I watched Crank 2 last week because it's brilliant. No further questions. So deeply mental. And also the one with Jet Li and Jason Statham, and Jason Statham's worst accent ever, which is great. But if Megalodon, what? I can't do it. I wish I could.
It's a Megalodon.
It makes me so happy. I love it so much. Oh, Statham's such a fucking G. Love it. It opens Crank by putting a gun up someone's bum.
Bum up someone's bum. It's just so when you're like clearing this, like my gun's jammed. Like you look down the barrel and there's a homeless man in there, just like,
what do you want?
Yeah, like
Go
that.
fuck yourself. Squatters' rights.
Squatters. It's like that H.R. Giger painting, the birth machine. It's that, but with a homeless man. See, I've made it medium low brow.
Right. Yeah, I think H.R. Giger gets away with being highbrow just because they put his thing in a well-known film. It's like if they'd never done that, people would think you were just fucking weird. Penis swords and claws
Penis
on the
swords.
penis and the penis in the face. It's like, dude, it's vaginas everywhere and it's art. It's not though, is it? No. It's
BBC arts correspondent Duncan Casey. Funny films.
and glands. But the penis and the fannies go in, and then the fannies open up, and then there is a big monster with fannies and a dick for a nose. It's not art, though, is it?
His new exhibition, Scrotum Blimp, opens at the Barbican this Wednesday.
Would be the fucking Barbican.
Oh, I'd totally go to Scrotum Blimp, and you would too.
Yeah, I would. Oh, no, actually, it would work best in the Tate Modern in the big hall.
Right, yes, of course. You just walk in, it's like...
Yeah, they pipe with the smell of sort of sweaty crotch. Anyway, Worms T17 sent us a super chat just before we
Nicky.
get crack-a-lacking.
Man, thank you.
And he sent us five pence and says, "Evening lads, this is the start of the MCU Flicks WP / commentaries for Val Verde. No, it's voted on by the good folks at Patreon, so it's not always. It's not going to be like this.
I mean, we're not saying we won't do any more, but this was like we put the 3 early MCU things onto the vote just because we did DC movies last week, and it seemed like a good idea to sort of redress the balance, perhaps that way. I think that's the idea. We could do more, but yeah, this was just a kind of thematic thing for you.
He says, also, Duncan, can you give us an Alan Partridge barrel?
the classic. The classic.
I don't think he ever said, but if he did...
no, he doesn't. Yeah, because that was just you summoning a word with 2 R's in. That's the way he accentuates. Yeah, maybe we can make that happen. Is there a way to trick Steve Coogan into saying barrel? We are getting a second series of this time. Did you know that?
Oh, that's good.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I fucking love this time. That's awesome.
No.
Okay, let's do it.
Right, okay.
Let's do it. And we're on the same platform, so we should be synced up, but fuck knows. Okay, I'll count in from 10, shall I? And we're going to go on go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. It's me, bloody Iron Man. I'm doing a war or something.
I guess, or whatever.
I guess or whatever.
I remember going to see this in the cinema. Do you remember seeing it in the cinema?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I was quite excited to see it. I thought it was really.
I was down. Yeah, I was up for it. I was excited. Obviously, it was because we had The Dark Knight coming later that year. This came out like quite early in the year.
It was spring. Yeah, I remember it being
sort of
hot and stuff, but it was like May or April or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so yes, it was as Marvel sort of are one to do as well. They do tend to release things kind
They
of.
seem to have
start
stuck
the
to
summer.
that. Yeah, they've stuck to that over the decade. I can now say.
And I bought this on Blu-ray back when Blu-rays were and still are quite expensive. But I really liked it. Yeah, I remember seeing it in the cinema and thinking, yeah, no, this is. I mean, I think I balked because, as I say, because I was still in that mode of like, no, superhero films need to be super serious.
I was the same. Dude, I was the same. Yeah. I was exactly the same. It's like, yeah, this would be like grounded in reality, so like it needs to be more tactical about everything, you know? Like it was I get that.
So I guess I skimmed over a lot of it in that sense, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really great, and I you know, so much so that I went out and bought it afterwards. And it's weird to think that there was this weird period where the MCU wasn't this all dominating, clearly defined thing.
I think that's the thing that gets. Sorry, quick super chat from Floyd Dillon. I'll read it with my single eye. Hi there. Have £10 on me. Which is a bad idea. I'll give you more, but it's my daughter's birthday next week. If she's watching, say hello again. She popped in on the chat on Sunday. Plus, I went a bit mental on Amazon buying Blu-rays. Did you know Jared Leto is in talks to play the Joker again? Oh no. Stop, he's already dead.
To never watch it. Yeah, I know, right? Someone made the point as well that like Jared Leto is now the first person to play the Joker in 2 films.
Right.
So,
okay, yeah, but all like by acts. But surely it'd be 3 because he's in Suicide Squad, isn't he?
Yeah. And
oh yeah, well, okay, yeah, 2 because 2 is the shelf, isn't it? That's the line, I suppose. So he's played it in 2+ films.
What?
You're saying he's only supposed to play the Joker in 2 films?
Yeah, now because of the Snyder.
No, he's played it in 3 because he was in. Oh no, I'm an idiot. Yeah, no. Oh, it's because I was about to go like. I was going to go.
He was in Suicide Squad.
I was straight up going to go like when he was in Batman. It's like what? But that's not a film that exists. You can't. Clearly a space in my brain was rented by a fictitious Batman film. Because fucking David Ayer cast. Anyway.
It just got rumbled and now it's gone.
Just caught in my brain with its dick out. And I'm just going, oh, fuck. I love that. Bless you. And you were just like, yeah. It's like, oh, what about the thing I made up? Fucking idiot.
You were just so adamant.
Indignant about my wrongness.
So I'd let you hang yourself, really. Give you enough rope.
Yep, that'll do.
You'll get there. It is mental, the idea that he's the one they've given more fucking airtime to, and it's just like, whoa,
he's barely done anything. He's dreadful, and he's barely done anything. That scene in Justice League at the end was a fucking embarrassment. It was a fucking embarrassment. It really was. Anyway, yes. I think people perhaps of a younger stripe, and that's totally, you know, and this is I did want to say this at the top of the watch party. Let's have a grown-up discussion about this because I've done Iron Man commentary before and I've done Marvel stuff before, and I don't give a fuck about any of your kind of into fanboy warring. I'm not interested about what happened in issue 27. We're talking about the film. We're talking about the context of the film. We're talking about how it was made. I was saying that because last time I did an Iron Man commentary, I was like, look, nobody gave a shit about Iron Man in 2008. And because I'm capable of, you know, rhetorical thought, I meant that as a generalism. I didn't literally mean it. And then I had some guy going, my friend Clive and I loved it. And we were and it's like, I didn't literally mean you and Clive. I just meant generally it was an unpopular character, which it was. And in this country, Iron Man had no truck whatsoever. Like, you would never ever have kids in Iron Man fancy dress. You wouldn't have jokes about Iron Man or Thor in sitcoms. Yeah, so did I.
I had a toy, but I know what you mean. It wasn't like no one spoke about. If you were going to go name a superhero, no one would
never. Not
say
in a
Iron
million
Man. Like,
not in a million years.
No.
Anyway, I got quite worked up about that.
But yeah, no, but so you were right, and I think it was one of those. I think of all of them, it was that superhero that was crying out for a film. Because it was kind of like Spider-Man had been done, Superman, Batman, obviously, you know, and it was that thing of like, let's reach for something else. Like, obviously, Blade had done it, and one or two others, like don't get me wrong, like Steel, I suppose. But it's like no one had. This was a big sort of. This is a real like tertiary character, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like,
and that in no way is designed to reflect on the source material. I'm not saying they were bad comics. That's another. Thing I got as well. It's like you hate Iron Man. It's like no, I'm saying it wasn't popular because like it was this bounced around. They were trying to make a film of this for years. So famously, Tom Cruise was attached to it. Universal had it for a while. Paramount had it, I think, and ironically, this was co-produced with Paramount. New Line Cinema had it for a while, and New Line did Blade. I'm pretty sure. And they bounced around with it, and when Marvel got hold of it, this was Marvel's first attempt to create a film in-house in 2006 when the rights reverted to them, and they chose a character which hadn't had some form of adaptation before. So Hulk, Captain America, one of their top tier that hadn't had, Spider-Man has, Hulk has, Thor has, technically, Captain America has, technically, and they wanted to go with Iron Man. And apparently, I feel like I'm just over-explaining, trying to venerate myself from a chat 5 years ago. But the Marvel, when they were putting this together, did focus groups just to find out whether or not the general public thought Iron Man was a robot or not. And a lot of people thought Iron Man was a robot because all they saw was kind of the toys of the guy in the suit, and they thought this guy was supposed to be a robot. So
well, Iron Man because Iron Giant was originally called Iron Man, wasn't it? Or
it's based on the Iron Giant's based on the Ted Hughes book, The Iron Man, which is the Iron Man I grew up with, the one from the book.
Me too. Yeah. See, I like this sort of setup here because it's like oddly watching it without sound because we just watched him be captured by terrorists, and then it's like I think it says something like 3 years ago or something, but it's like it's almost implying that he didn't turn up to pick up his award because he's been captured by terrorists, kind of thing. And there's like, no, it's just because he's a belligerent fuckwad.
Fuckwad. I mean, and it's not as if I have a counter description of Tony Stark. It's just like belligerent, drunken fuckwad is absolutely his whole vibe. I think. So this was, and that's another thing as well. People, and again, perhaps people of a younger stripe who were a bit young to remember what was going on at the time. I mean, this, love it or hate it, this film completely changed the landscape. Like, we live in the fucking post-Marvel world now because of this film. And this
over time, I don't think it changed it like that. It wasn't like this came out and changed the landscape. It was like this built to the changing of the landscape. It was well received and rightfully so, and I think people really enjoyed it. But it didn't. It's not like it set the box office on fire and ruined it.
And it was followed by Hulk, which was a dud. They could have fallen at the first. It put us on a trajectory, and now I think the reason it is such a sea change after a point is because everybody's tried to copy it and most of them have failed. I think Star Wars seems to have just sort of got it, and it's done so A, through TV, and B, being bought by Disney. I think Marvel got bought by Disney around the time of Captain America, right, or just before. So they weren't that many films in when they got bought out, and I think having their kind of, I don't know if Marvel could have sustained this on their own. We might not have had it if Disney hadn't swooped in and bought them. And Marvel was hugely in the toilet in the 90s as well. That's why they didn't have any of their character rights for ages, because Marvel teetered on bankruptcy for fucking years as an entity. Them going into the movie making game, to be fair, in 2006 when there'd been a bit of resurgence and interest in their stuff, because I think like the Spider-Man movies gave their sales a boost and stuff like that. But even now it seems comics are mostly used as a testbed for movie shit now.
That was the most ludicrously overwrought pre-sex kissing I've ever seen. Just like
acting.
Sex kissing.
Well, they have to be better than the Spider-Man upside down one, don't they? So they just do sex kissing. Let's do sex kissing.
Lindsay's a sex kissing.
Oh, I wish. Yeah, as much as I love Paul Bettany, I wish Steve Coogan was the voice of Jarvis.
Hot rod red.
It's a bit ostentatious.
Bit of an American anachronism, but why not? Let's go.
You see, Jarvis could tell himself a walnut grip in his suit. Great.
yeah. Just like net-backed gloves on for better perks.
Some kind of athletic support. Oh, poor Pepper Potts. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Pepper Potts. Would you like a candle that smells like my fanny?
Good.
Goop. Would you like goop?
There's been serious ethical questions around that, because it is literally like she sells the most ridiculous shit.
Yeah, and some of it's kind of
But,
like things that have claims of, I'm not going to say medical efficacy, let's say, but they're claiming to sort of heal certain
or
things.
inefficacy.
Or inefficacy, yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So, and that's dumb, particularly when you're a zillionaire as well. It's just kind of, dude, you don't need more money. Just sell fucking fanny candles. It's fine. You need to lie about it.
Yeah. Just invest your money. Like invest your money, live off the dividends. Happy days.
Buy Dogecoin.
You don't have to sell fanny candles.
Fanny candles. If anybody wants to,
it's like, forget this Bitcoin thing. I'm investing in
fanny candles. She says Fanny since she married an Englishman. She's just gone over to Fanny.
That's right.
Fanny.
She was. She's not married anymore.
No.
They consciously uncoupled, lest we forget.
Even getting divorced. They even divorced like twats. It's unbelievable.
But that just smacks to me of like they paid someone to tell them what they were doing. You know, it's like they probably paid some fucking like coach to be like, no, you just feel consciously uncoupled.
He must have made so much money. I want to be that guy. I want to be the coach.
Yeah.
Consciously uncoupling. I mean, I think
You're different work.
the only thing worse than liking Coldplay in my eyes is marrying them. So I don't actually have. Apart from, what was it? Superhands says in Peep Show, he goes, you can't trust people, Jeremy. They voted for the Nazis and listened to Coldplay. More Superhands.
Fair point.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see Superhands as Iron Man. They have similar facial hair. But yeah, in all seriousness, I don't hate Gwyneth Paltrow in the way people say. Like, as a performer, I think she's great and fine. Her personal life aside, I think these two have really good chemistry. There's something I meant to say about this actually. I bought the 2-disc DVD, like a scummo. Didn't get the fucking Blu-ray. Did you? So was your Blu-ray like the 2-disc one with the doc on it, the documentary on the second disc?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah, did you watch all that stuff?
Yeah,
it's really fucking interesting, man. I think there's so much interesting stuff in it. I think because they had. It's sort of like what you hear about when people start up a magazine. It's like you have a year to write the first issue, and then you have a month to write the second one. So they had all this prep time because I think they started this 2006, and then
it's that difficult second album syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah, the second one of
Just ask Coldplay.
Yes, indeed. The second one of this is fine, but it's pretty uninspiring in a lot of ways. But it's fine. I think it's actually. I'll tell you what. I wasn't mad about it when I watched it at the cinema because this one was so good. But then when I revisited it on TV, I kind of liked it a lot more. It was my
yeah, it's fine. I remember going to cinema to see it, and I thought it was alright. Yeah, it was fun though. It wasn't like. I mean, it does a lot actually when you think about it. The second Iron Man film introduces Black Widow.
Yep.
It introduces more Nick Fury, but it introduces Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Instead of Terrence Howard. That sort of stuff. So it does do a lot. A lot happens in it. It's a sort of. It's quite a. But it is. Yeah. In terms of a watching experience, it's quite a sort of. Play by numbers.
I think it's got better with age, and I think it's certain films to me I watch in the cinema and then I enjoy them more on the small screen. I think they were better on TV. Unfortunately, I really love a lot of what Captain America: The First Avenger is doing, but I don't like it. I find it quite boring. I think stylistically, in terms of its art direction, I think in terms of its references to kind of period propaganda and films that are really clever. As an actual film to watch, I find it quite dull. And when I saw it at the cinema, I was a bit like, oh, this will be better on Blu-ray. Rented it on Blu-ray, and I was like, when people used to do that. And I was just like, no, this is also kind of boring on the small screen to me. So okay. I don't.
I quite like. I like the first Avenger.
I do feel a bit wrong. I feel wrong because everyone really likes it. And the thing is, like I say, it's one of those things. We've used the phrase like less than the sum of its parts before, and that to me is a less than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so regards to this, they had a couple of years to develop it. They shot it in 2007. Favreau approached Sam Rockwell first for this, and of course Sam Rockwell plays the crap Tony Stark in the second one in Justin Hammer, and does a really, really good performance, really funny bit of stuff. But I can totally see why.
I love it. Oh, have you seen Richard Jewell?
No, the Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Mm-hmm. Fucking hell, Sam Rockwell is so. I mean, the guy who plays Richard Jewell is absolutely incredible, but Sam Rockwell's great in that as well, man. Definitely worth watching. I definitely recommend that. It was really, really fun.
Right.
But yes, sorry, yeah. Sam Rockwell, love all the way. Like,
he's fucking amazing, man. I love him, and he would have been. I think he would have been really good as Stark. But I think Downey Jr. is perfect for it. I think it's real lightning in a bottle. I think they did a really good job casting him, and it plays up to his strengths and stuff. And also as well, probably not anymore, but I think as of Endgame was like the most highest paid actor in the world. And I know he comes from kind of like a known family and stuff, and has been in the game for years and years. But his career was in the fucking toilet like twice, and this was his kind of ultimate redemption, which is really nice because he seems to have had I think he's done 2 films that aren't Marvel in the last decade, I think. But you know, hey, he's a fucking great actor, man.
Yeah, he did the Judge and Due Date stuff. Well, Due Date was really funny in that one.
Yeah,
like he's a cracking actor. Like
yeah, he is great, dude. He's fucking awesome. He's a really good actor, I think. And he's mostly done Marvel for the last few years, but it's kind of like, wouldn't you? Come on, like they fucking a decade fucking victory lap, and then you get to retire with your family with a gazillion quid. Like, yeah, too fucking right.
Well, it's like a lot of people have said as well with him is it's like he's a lot of people said about this is it's like the biggest TV show in the world because it is. Marvel's turned into like this season on Marvel, you know.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah. Well, there's something that I saw.
But you know, he was the heart of it.
Yeah, and you know, and if you look at Endgame, they reproduced loads of shots from this movie in Endgame. So it's like when Obadiah Stane's kind of like he's poisoned him with that thing and he's kind of bearing over him. They reproduced that shot with Thanos just before he kind of snaps and stuff. There's loads of great little callbacks to this movie in there.
Nice.
What I was going to say, which might be of interest to you, which you may already know, I don't know, but so this was kind of done. You know, let's not go into IMDb trivia style, but this was done without a conventional script, and the actors were encouraged to write their own dialogue and kind of workshop everything. So a lot of, and you see that, and it's a little bit in 2 as well, but you see it in a lot of it. There's lots of fumbly-bumbly dialogue where they overlap and stuff, and it's because they've improvised parts or they've written parts themselves. So they had a story, an overriding story, and beats they had to hit, but they were kind of then made to sort of interact naturally with each other. So if you watch some of the deleted material and stuff from the screen tests and stuff, it's sort of a bit like having a head injury then waking up from a coma, because like you'll see a scene and they're all sort of like on rodeo balls, like eating hot dogs on Mars, talking about how they have to shut down the time machine, and it's like, where does this fit in anywhere? It's not that bad, but there's these things they're just talking about, and it's just like, this doesn't fit in anywhere in the story that we've seen. Like it's.
Yeah, I remember one of the nicest things I saw in it was I don't know if it was the first time they met, but it was like when Jeff Bridges and Downey Jr. got together for the first time for this, and it's nice because like Jeff Bridges still has his hair.
Yes, I've seen this. Yeah,
and then they just I think they do a bit of a table read or whatever together, and but kind of loosely, and they just read some lines together and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. I like that. I mean, you know, everyone knows I'm a big I love Jeff Bridges to death, and actually. Speaking of Jeff, you know, we should all wish him well because he's not been very well recently. He's had was it Hodgkin's lymphoma or something he's been recovering from.
Yeah.
So I fucking hope, you know, that's you know, on the way up for him, or he's able to recover because Jeff Bridges is just one of those dudes, man. He's the dude. So God bless him. But you know, and in this he makes such a sort of like. It's such a weird, you know, you wouldn't think to cast Jeff Bridges as a villain, would you? Like, it's not really his usual thing, but he has.
You know, we're kind of 24 films down the line now, but I remember I liked his performance in this so much, and he has such a huge presence in this film, even when he's off screen, that when the other movies came around, when the second Iron Man came around, I was like, oh, it was good, but I really miss Jeff Bridges. Like, he was a really big part of the dynamic of the movie and the way he interacted with these characters and stuff. Because he's got this kind of like sort of cuddly menace, isn't it? Because he's always kind of gregarious and smiling, but you know he's up to something. And I think it's when Pepper's trying to has the USB in the computer and she hides it with the newspaper, and like he knows something's up. And he's just being all friendly and kind, and you can see that in her eyes that she's just absolutely bricking it. And he just owns that.
It's when she leaves and he turns the computer on, doesn't he? He's got the whiskey or whatever, and he's kind of like realizes what she's been doing. And he sort of goes, like it's sort of like you see the sudden like, because obviously there's the bit where he snaps at the guy and goes, "Tony Stark."
I love it so much.
Box scraps or whatever, and it's just like yeah, but and then he towers over that guy, which I love.
That guy,
you just don't expect it.
That guy's back in Spider-Man: Far From Home as well. He's one of, which is nice. I like all the tie-ups. You know, they've done that well.
I do. No, I like that as well. But no, I just think it's. I mean, it's again like you sort of say about the sort of tie-up with RoboCop. It's that kind of it's Ronnie Cox, isn't it? It's the sort of avuncular, nice guy who they've cast as the villain, and it's kind of like, because he's nice. You want to be his friend. It's like when he turns up with the pizza. Yeah, and that's such a great scene because it's like, you know, that's his typical like he's been the father figure to Tony, and it's like, but they're billionaires or whatever. So it's like, flew some pizza in from New York. Yes. We're in Malibu in California, but it's like I flew it across the country. I've just come back from New York. Here's some pizza. You know, no, you're not getting it. That's not for you. Like whatever. And I just love that. I just think that's such a nice character beat because they're still like father and son. Yes. And that's makes it all the more tragic, you know.
Because you're constantly fed that the kind of absent father is that you're given up front, and the fact that he stepped up to be his dad. But then it's kind of bubbling under that he's jealous and he kind of, you know, wants to own him and stuff. And it has all that kind of, you know, I've been speaking to the board. They don't like this. They don't like that. And it's like, is that bullshit? Because we never see the board. We just know that you're manipulating things and whatever.
I love this the terrorist guy. This is great as well because he's just like, he's obviously speaking in Arabic. He just goes, no. He like always does that.
Yeah.
Like build us a Jericho, right? Like build us something that's going to destroy everyone.
Like he's always.
And then a bit later on, when he's like in the village and he's like, blah, like storming about and stuff like that. He's great. No, he's really. I don't think there's a dud performance in this at all. I think it's all really on point. You know.
Yeah, oh man, all of it, even in the small roles and stuff. Also, let's not forget good old Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson. You know that. I came to sort of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again when it went bananas and got when it was able to not be tied to the movie stuff. And Clark Gregg's great, but it's what me and Ivan call Cool Coulson, because Cool Coulson was before it got too much focus. You know, when he would just turn up and do something nuts and then sort of disappear and stuff. It was like, yeah, Cool Coulson. And Clark Gregg is fucking awesome. I love his performance. And he had a good old run. You know. Yeah, it's very green. I didn't remember how green all this stuff was.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Underground. It's green underground. It's the kryptonite basement, or you know, whatever.
Because I remember when I saw this for the first time, it's like I thought, oh god, this stuff's going to go on for ages, and this is going to be most of the film. Is him, you know, because I suppose as well because it has that sort of Batman Begins vibe of like, oh, okay, we're going to find out how the leopard got its stripes, and then we're going to spend an hour in a cave while he does whatever, and then
that's what was so good about it, though, because we'd had all that. And then this film just goes, nope, and he punches through the wall and like grabs the guy and everything. There's that lovely tense thing where they're trying to power it up. It spends
enough time.
Yeah, it
spends enough time.
Oh no, it's enough, but not because I can totally picture the thing where you're sat here and they're still in a cave and there's a half an hour left. Do you know what I mean? Because they totally could have done that. And this, it's not that it's been enough time, but it's basically the first act, isn't it? And then he goes back to Malibu, and then you know things start unraveling and stuff. And there's some great.
I believe I'm getting. Sorry.
Go on.
No, you finish what you said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this has got probably more. So Stan Winston's team made the Iron Man suit, and I'm not sure if there was an entire suit, but it was in large sections that actors actually wore for, you know, and nowadays I think there's lots of, you know, it's fucking seamless, man. Like Rob would know about this, but it's fucking seamless when you see the suit now, but I think it's mostly CGI or entirely CGI, whereas this movie had big sections of like actual suit that someone wore and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm just saying I've just noticed I appear to be getting shit in the chat for talking about symbolism and hidden meanings. It's like, well, that is what films do. Like, I mean,
that's visual storytelling, my friend. Like, that's a huge thing.
yeah, and it's not symbolism; it's subtext. Really, is what I'm talking about. You know, because that's the point. This is what when people like go, "Oh, Dark Knight's really good." Oh, Dark Knight's really good. Oh, Terminator 2, it's brilliant because Crash Bang Wallop, right? And it's like, no, like the reason you like it, even though you don't understand why, is because subliminally it's talking to you about a very relatable issue. It's just through a fantastical prism.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, precisely.
So it's like
metaphor and abstraction. That's
yeah. You don't have to pick it apart in that way, like I do, or that you do, or whatever. But it's like the point is, it's speaking to you on a different level, even though you don't realise it's speaking to your subconscious.
As Mr. Plinkett would say, you didn't notice it, but your brain did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, put it this way, right? Sigmund Freud himself said sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. However, big believer in Freudian kind of psychology, Alfred Hitchcock wasn't just making films about a man stabbing a lady in the bath. There's stuff going on there. Some things that aren't spoken out loud. Subtext, some people call it.
I mean, this is it. Modern filmmaking is just A to B clunky pots and pans procedural bullshit now. It's just like, well, I mean, see Rise of Skywalker, right? A, what the fuck does that title have to do with anything? And B, like, what? It's just like, oh, get the thing, then go to the thing. Then they did the thing. No, you don't understand. They did the thing because of the thing. And it's like, yeah, but what does any of it mean? If there's no meaning, if there's nothing behind it, if we're not discovering anything about ourselves and all the characters, what the fuck is the point in any of it? Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, and if you just want to watch big smashy crashy shit, fine, but like at least own that and don't fucking. You know, it's like the Snyder cut, which I have seen. We haven't really talked about, but I did watch.
I mean, we've talked about it, but we haven't talked about it with the team, have we? That's the
No. But you know, again, that film was much better, but still just like that. The embarrassing epilogue that you talked about. I mean, again, it's just full of. It's just A to B join the dots garbage. It's like, and then like you said, we were texting each other after. The guy was it like, some people call me Martian Manhunter. What does that mean? Bye.
Who does? Where? Well, Mars? Why would they call you that? That's like calling someone Earth Doctor. What? Wait, who are you?
What does any of this mean? Bye.
I think I said this to you at the time, having just come off of Superman last week. It's like Man of Steel is like, you know, saying Superman is dumb and for dumb babies, but Justice League would be like, I'm Martian Manhunter. Woo! Bye. So, okay, this is quite a tonal shift, but all right, make your fucking mind up.
Yeah, it's just weird, man. Like, you know, but it's like the reason why, like Batman saying I will fucking kill you and all this stuff to the Joker. It's like that would have weight if those two characters had ever been on screen really before.
Why is there a reach around joke?
Like there's nothing behind any of that shit. Why is there a reach
around joke?
There's nothing behind it.
So why? Why the why? It's just so fucking dumb.
Yeah,
it's so fucking dumb.
You're watching two characters. I think it thinks that there's weight behind all that shit because you're bringing stuff from previous iterations of those characters. But it's like, yeah, but there's nothing. These two have never done anything, so why would I give a shit if he says things like that? But anyway,
well, I kind of think that if you sort of like, it's sort of, it kind of irritates me where basically if you try and analyse something, people kind of go like, God, not everything means something, and it's like it usually does. Firstly, and secondly, I think it comes from
Well, that clearly did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I'm not saying. Look, okay. I don't think Hobbs and Shaw is about Jungian archetypes, okay? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be that pretentious cunt, but there's stuff in it. Like, that mostly is kind of whiz-bang theme park ride, but it doesn't pretend it isn't. Some things can have it both ways. I think it's rooted in a sort of slightly grotty anti-intellectualism, and that kind of gets my back up a bit. It's kind of like, oh, what are you doing? You're thinking again, you specky cunt. Why don't you go read a book? Like, you know...
Well, if Hobbs and Shaw is about family, I mean, that's
that's
all that's about. Yeah, because everyone's all.
That's all that those are, right? They're super about family.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It's essentially is what they're about, you know. But that's just about family and what family means. Blah, blah, blah. That's all that's about. And that's fine. It's not even the subtext. It's the text because the characters in it talk about. Well, that's what they talk about. They're like, she's the sister of Jason Statham. isn't she? Or of whatever.
Yeah.
And
Jason
then
Statham and
she
Helen
thought
Mirren's
of
daughter.
whatever.
Not their daughter.
That's right.
That would
Yeah,
be
and that would be odd.
I like candy.
And
I like gilfs.
was it?
No spring chicken, but in need of a lick.
Anyway,
I've never heard that before.
who was it used to say that? Some guy used to know. Anyway, dirty bastards. But no, that's the thing. But the point is, it's rooted in a human truth, right? The Joker talking to Batman about not giving him a reach around or whatever. It's got fuck all to do with like. I mean, I guess some people would be perturbed at not getting a reach around. I don't know. Can't speak for them, but. It's probably not much of a universal message, and it's not really got fuck all to do with Joker and Batman in a post-apocalyptic hellscape. What has that got to do?
Because Zack Snyder thinks he's doing it in Sucker Punch, but he has to explain it all the time. And it's like, that's just text, Zack. Because I sort of thought like one of the characters was going to walk past holding a sign saying, "Okay, this part is a dream." Or is it ? In bracket. You know what I mean? Like it overexplains itself so much. It's like, well, that's just text. Like I get it. Like. Oh, by the way, they're not actually like ninja Barbies fighting robots. Oh, no shit, really? Oh, wow, this is so layered. Like, come on, fuck out of here. Though I did have a fabulous wank. No, really. I'm far too jaded for that at this point in my life.
We have a super chat from Mark Flanagan that I ought to read out for $5 dues. He said, "Who would you call the Cameron or Ridley Scott of this franchise? Feig, maybe, but I don't think anyone. What? Or any more, maybe you mean. If you think there's subtext here, explain it."
In what sense would there... Sorry, Mark, just for clarification. In what sense do you mean a Cameron or Ridley Scott? I mean, because...
I guess the originator of it, which I suppose, you could say, Feige. Yeah, you're supposed to say that. And then Feige or... I guess Favreau, like you could say. It
seemed
Favreau.
like it was meant to be Favreau, didn't it? And I think because he had a bit of a shit time on Iron Man 2, and I think that's when Marvel really started sticking their oar in. And then he got producer credit on the Avengers movie, and I think there's an alternate timeline where Favreau would have made the Avengers. I think it seems though
for sure,
right?
Yeah.
And now he's doing, he's a Disney company guy now, and he's doing very well from it. So he's the Star Wars guy with Dave Filoni.
Well, he's basically made the Mandalorian, hasn't he? That's
exactly.
His jam.
Exactly, and so and it was nice to see Happy Hogan back in the Spider-Man movies. So his characters carried on as well, which is nice. And it was like, and again, it was nice when Iron Man 3 came round with Shane Black and Happy Hogan was still a character, because that very easily could have gone the other way. But
definitely, and his bit in Endgame with Morgan, he says about cheeseburgers. No, that fucking film. I remember being in the cinema being like,
and now you've got fucking extra dad shit going on.
I know. I was literally like sat there, fucking welling up. I remember thinking to myself, "This is so fucking ridiculous. You're sat amid strangers, trying to hold back tears to the point of like agony. I was in pain.
Oh, mate!
And there's like a green giant at someone's funeral. Like, why are you upset by this? What's wrong with you?"
Just for legal reasons, he wasn't jolly. It was just a non-specific green giant, not a jolly one. We don't want to anger the pea. I don't want to anger the pea people.
The fine people at Green Giant. But no, I mean, it was just like, it's just the Hulk is there. You're watching CGI characters. I bet you like most of the people in that big long shot of everyone at the funeral. I bet a load of them weren't there. Yeah. Probably just comped in afterwards. But I was still fucking bawling my eyes.
Look, they did get that movie. I'll go into bat for that. I think it paid off nicely. That thing. I think it's a difficult thing. So people who hate him, and I think, hey, look, hating the popular thing is a worthwhile pursuit. I won't go against that. But hating it just for the sake of hating it, I think you judge anything on its own merits or whatever. I do think some people just dismiss them because they base their personality around having a certain opinion. So that's just like, dismiss that.
Well, the contrarians, that's fine, all right. Don't like things that most people like, fine. Whatever, that's what goths used to be. And now, there's always the counterculture, whatever. Punks did it until punk became a thing. Yeah, that's the problem. It's always like, no one understands. It's like, yeah, but you have a label.
Yeah.
And if more people join it, and it has rules.
Well, that's when they start selling its, when they start selling its bits and pieces in the supermarket. You know what I mean? You can't really call yourself a counterculture anymore.
But I think Infinity War and Endgame worked as releases, a year or two apart. But watching them sort of back to back as we did not long ago, it was a bit of a slog to get through because I was kind of like, a lot of this is just going over the same ground in some areas, but still great movies.
I find Endgame really watchable, whereas Infinity War is good and everything, but I don't find it as watchable as Endgame. I love Endgame's whole wacky time travel shit, and Alan Silvestri referencing his own Back to the Future score and stuff like that. It's really cool, and it's in nice kind of bits. It's in nice clear chunks like this film, whereas Infinity War is a bit kind of loosely defined by comparison. By the way, this is the robot. The first robot suit scene is so fucking cool. There's loads of like cameras mounted on guns, a bit like kind of Neil Blomkamp movie and everything, and they do the kind of nice. It's much like RoboCop. They do the thing of not really showing you it for a bit. So you hear it coming, and it's like clang, 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 and then it's like he does grab the guy through the wall with the shot from RoboCop and stuff.
That's later on though, when he's got the Mark II or whatever.
No, he does it in this scene, doesn't he? He grabs the guy through the wall.
No, I don't think so. I think that's later on when he punches through the wall and grabs the guy and brings him back. That's later on. That's in the
okay, fine.
The other suit.
That's kind of RoboCop. That's sort of RoboCop as well when they smashing the door. Except this implies that implies that he's pulverizing someone's brains against that door, I guess. Unless he's just because isn't the guy next to the door and then it's just like clang clang. Isn't he pasting some guy?
He does one of the no. The door hits him. It just happened. Are you behind me or something?
The guy just shot himself in the head. Well, kind of shot himself in the head.
Yeah, the guy just shot himself in the head. Yeah. No, the bit there was when he smashed the door and it like fell on a guy. But yeah, I love that bit. The guy shoots himself in the head with a ricochet.
It's quite grim as well.
It is grim. Yeah, you wouldn't see that in a modern Marvel film probably. Although that said, they're not that Disneyfied. Like there are moments in them that are quite sort of...
I thought it was really funny because everyone was kind of like, oh, Disney's coming out, bought it, it's all going to be this, that and the other. And it's like, Disney own Disney released Reservoir Dogs, like Disney own lots of things. They don't buy things and then put mice in them. That's not how it works. And I don't think the Marvel movies have become any more or less kind of... I don't really think they sacrificed their identity under Disney. I'm not going into bat for Disney, but I do think they continued on the same trajectory. I think Kevin Feige still has a lot of sway. Ike Perlmutter had a lot of sway for a while as well. I don't think that they've been softened in any way because they were quite squishy to begin with, weren't they? It's not as if they were like these hard-edged things that they've diluted. So I think they... I think their dilemma at the moment is struggling how to get Deadpool in. Because Deadpool was made by Fox, they did whatever they wanted with it, and that does not jive with the tone of Marvel's current output. I don't think you can't release... I mean, I think they should just straight up release the 18-rated Deadpool film under Marvel and make it a reboot but still have Ryan Reynolds or whatever. I think you should do that and just go, look, hey, some of these films are for adults. If you're going to have those many films out,
Well, they're sort of branching out because obviously they put Star on Disney Plus now. And it's like so they're not. It's not like they're saying Disney Plus is just for Disney stuff, or Star Wars or Marvel. It's like they have got other stuff in the canon.
Yeah, well, it's weird, isn't it? How they just kind of sat on the Fox back catalogue for ages, and then now it's like, okay, so we of course we have Aliens and Die Hard and Commando, but we've been sitting on them deciding what to do with them, and it's like, what you mean release them on your platform? Is that what the difficult decision? I don't know what happened, but I don't.
Yeah, well, also the platform that was struggling to get off the ground because it had bugger all on it. It's like, why don't you put a fucking... Yeah, I know. It's like because I don't think they still haven't put Aliens on there or anything, have they? Have they put a Die Hard?
Yeah, Die Hard. The Die Hard movies are on there. I think Aliens are on there now, aren't they? Commando's on there, amusingly, because it's a lot of Fox movies. But yeah, it's not. it's not the complete set. Mark Flanagan, $5. I'm saying there's no one's vision in these films, different from Alien or Terminator. You guys seem attracted to those visions, not just action. Yeah, well, this is the problem, Mark. I think originally it was kind of it was never going to be, because there are too many things in the pie. If you want to do what they've done, Kevin Feige is as close as you get, but you can't have one person write and direct 24 films in 10 years. It's just not. Maybe one day some mad lad will do that, but I don't think that's gonna. Thank you very much, by the way.
Yes,
I don't think that's kind of possible. I think, and this is the thing. I think Marvel made this look easy, so I think people have kind of these expectations of it. I think
this bit always got me in the cinema. It's like he would be dead, but that suit has no way of cushioning him. That's where it lost me. I think when I was watching,
as evidence of how it fucking disintegrated when he hit the dirt, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But he's fine. But you'd have a broken neck, mate.
Well, that's the thing. It's that lighter tone, isn't it? I think that's the. This is the thing. I've never had, and going back to Man of Steel, I've never ever held the idea that Iron Man doesn't kill people. Right, he flies around in a fucking death suit, right? Whereas Superman's not supposed to.
Yeah.
And I get that, but this has quite a lot of depth in it. But the thing is, it's quite light-hearted, it's quite bright looking, and it's quite kind of zippy. Whereas Man of Steel is so fucking concerned with how grim and awful everything is all the time, and grey, and blah. Yeah. So and quite a lot of what happened, like that dude, again, it's kind of done as a joke, and it is a good bit of stuff. But that geezer shoots himself in the fucking head. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm afraid I have to break the seal already.
Really?
So I know it's tragic, really. But I had a lot of water with my dinner. So if you'll excuse me,
he has to go micturate. Duncan has to pass water.
I do.
It's all right. I'll keep it. Sam's just asked the questions. There we go.
Thank you.
Sam says, "What do you think is the best? What do you think are the best and worst Marvel films?" I'm probably going to go Best of Civil War and Worst is Thor: The Dark World. You may have answered your own question there, Sam, but let's open it up a little bit, because it's a broad school of thought there. The worst ones probably Hulk, Thor: The Dark World. I really don't like Age of Ultron, man. It's fucking boring. I don't hate Captain America, but I don't really like it. I mean, there's whole bits that I just sort of don't like. Civil War is definitely up there. Like Winter Soldier was superb, really, really good. And again, I really love Thor Ragnarok. I think Taika Waititi is just such a brilliant comic voice, and I think he's been quietly influential for years, and him getting a Marvel movie makes sense. If you watch Wilder People or What We Do in the Shadows and stuff, it's just so brilliant. And it's a film I could just watch again and again and again, because it has his humour, and it's kind of really, really funny. I think that pisses people off as well. It's like, I think the amount of comedy in these pisses people off, because I think there are certain people who prefer that Snyder tone, and that's fair enough, because I think if you look at the comics for both of these things, they all have the super grim dark stuff and the fun zippy stuff, and you can only kind of really choose one tone if your thing's meant to be shared universe. People get quite pissed off with that, so... and I get the arguments for both. You've got your kind of Frank Miller thing, you've got more kind of thing like this. Worms says, Demon Town Ancient Gods Part 2 try it out yet? Not yet, Worms. I'm going to buy it probably this weekend. I'm really excited to play that, because I love me some Doom, as you know, which is why we were asking. That was from the rock band The Police, or as they're now known, Sting, says Steve Allen. Captain Marvel is just okay, bro.
He was just a lovely young man.
Exactly, Lennox. Did you see? I was just talking about Taika Waititi. Did you see Jojo Rabbit?
We started watching it, but quite honestly,
did nothing for you.
I think we weren't in the mood. I think that was partly it.
It goes to some fucking dark places. It's like, it really does.
Yeah.
Another great Sam Rockwell performance.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. It was one of those ones I was kind of like, there's nothing wrong with this at all. It's just not I'm not in the right headspace for it, or it's not my thing, or it's speaking to something or someone else. It wasn't. But I don't mean that as in it's not to take away from it, because I do think it was really good. It looked, it's one of those films where I'm kind of like, I wish I could get into this, but I just can't right now for whatever reason.
I think time and place, and again, I really liked it, man. I thought it was really beautiful, and just full of great performances and stuff. Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division, Duncan. Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. That's what I'm saying. I'm certain that's...
Well done. Special Executive Counterintelligence Revenge. No. Terror. No. Terrorism? No. Revenge and extortion. Spectre.
Spectre. I quite like.
For some reason, the S and the P mean special.
I love it when an acronym takes the piss. It's really sort of like that. Sort of like, hold up a minute. You get real ones as well that do that, and it's like, I'm not so sure.
I would just love Sean Connery to be like, that's not really. Surely you should be.
Wait, that's
Sector. Should you?
It's not.
No, Mr. Bond, it's quite acceptable.
When are we? I just look. We've fallen into our Bond and Blofeld looks. Let's just do it. Let's make our own fan films because fan films are never embarrassing. What does SWORD stand for? I can't remember the one for sword, and I know that the acronym of SHIELD from the comics is different. I think here's one I like very much. Do you remember the cartoon Mask? Did you watch Mask when you were a kid? About that they had like cars and stuff. The bad guys in that are called Venom, which, unless I'm mistaken, stands for Very Evil Network of Mayhem. Very few people declare that they're evil. I mean, unless you're actually the devil, you don't actually go, oh no, I'm evil. ISIS don't think they're evil. Hitler didn't think he was evil. Like, they don't like, oh yeah, I'm evil.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Isn't it Spider-Man 3 when he goes, I like being bad? And it's like, you shouldn't.
Well,
that's not the
do you mean like in a Michael Jackson way, or in a sort of like I ate too many calories on a weeknight way? What do you mean? Like, what does this mean? What's Mask is? Oh yeah, here's one. Yeah, so in Mask stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command with a K. So come on, guys. Come on, guys. Here we go. Here's Obadiah. Someone I've realised I could probably do a feeble cosplay of now.
Obadiah.
Obadiah.
It sounds like a Mormon, like the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yes, it has that vibe to it, doesn't it?
Obadiah was building a barn. That's what we assume that the Amish just build barns, right?
Right.
What's the Simpsons where he buys the pool that you're supposed to put together, and it's like he builds it. It's like. Because you think it's like, oh, new pool. It's like, and then it looks like it's a picture of the pool, but it's actually the instructions. He puts, why doesn't ours look like that? And it's like an Amish guy next to it. It's like, sure, it is a fine barn, English, but sure, it is no pool. It's like, do it! How has he built a barn out of a pool? That's impressive. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, he's a fine barn. An Amish guy just turned up to tell him that.
Sorry, hold on. Brian Shields just pointed out that Pugwall is. You remember Pugwall? Pugwall Summer.
No.
It was like an Australian show about a kid who have a band. Anyway, Pugwall, Peter Unwin George Wall. Brian Shields, you better not be fucking playing with me, man, because I need to know. I need to know if that is if that's true. I won't have my emotions played with like this. I absolutely will not.
You're just saying words.
I know all those words, but not in that order. What does that mean? Oh yeah, Jeff Bridges, man, he's so fucking good in basically all things. You sort of don't need to say it. He also seems like he's not someone. Because I don't know how tall these guys are relatively, but he seems like this huge dude in this movie.
He is taller,
but he seems like
he's like my height or maybe a bit taller. I think.
But is he particularly broad as a guy? Like, because he looks like he just sort of.
He reminds me of my old headmaster, which is to say, I think he's a guy who's like just big, as in big featured, if that makes sense. Like, I think he is someone who's just quite, like not fat or tall or any of that shit, but just like big, and
big bones.
I don't know how best to describe it. I guess so. Just sort of like everything always fit. I don't know.
It's a great. Like, I know that in these movies, because RDJ wears fucking lifts for these movies. He wears like huge wedges because part of that's getting him to be as tall or taller than Gwyneth Paltrow. But Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane, it's a really great, because when they're stood next to each other, like Obadiah sort of envelops him. Like he just dwarfs him, and then of course when they get their respective robots, the fucking Ironmonger robot is really huge. This is great. This is like a practical chest, that's built up because she gets her hand. Also, the line that always kind of I think about and kind of freaks me out. She gets gunk on her hand, and I think he says something like, she goes like, "Oh, it's pus," and he goes, "It didn't come from me; it came from the device." And even though it's not pus, makes me go, "Oh, that's not nice."
Yeah, doesn't he say some sort of ionic discharge or something?
Also, I guess because I will say that about this film, I'm a bit fuzzy on exactly what went on with the chest piece in the cave, because he's put a fucking metal cup in his sternum.
Yeah, so how is that how is that? That's a septic in it doesn't make sense as well, because it's like you put an electromagnet near his heart to
keep the pieces away,
shrapnel away. And it's kind of like that. What do you mean? They'd lodge in his veins and cause internal bleeding long before. They probably end up in his liver and kill him very quickly.
I'm just about okay to take. I like the logic behind there are bits of shrapnel pressing on his heart, and the magnet will keep them away long enough to keep him alive. It's kind of fuzzy logic, but I get it. And he's got the car battery and stuff. What I don't get is going from that to massive fucking pint glass in your sternum. And what's that doing? Why is it? Because also it's like, it powers the suit, and it's like, but is that keeping the things away from his heart? Because when they unplug it, he goes, "Bleh," and it's not that quick, is it? And it's all about how it powers a suit, and it's like, well, Don Cheadle doesn't have a hole in his chest. His one just in this. So why have you? So they fix it in I was really glad in Iron Man 3 when they fixed his heart, because it's like none of this makes any fucking sense.
No, I know. Yeah, and then he's still walking around, but he walks around with it like an amulet over his chest, doesn't he? Rather than actually being in his. He wears it weird. It's in Infinity War. It's it's nanomachines, isn't it? Hidden in the piece, and he wears it like you say, and it goes cling, 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 and it all comes out. It's a good look. I do really like the thing of because it speaks about his whole thing of how much is he the machine, and he's in love with his suits, and they really go in that in Iron Man 3. But just whenever he's wearing a t-shirt, there's that glow underneath it and stuff, and it's kind of it's a good shorthand, visual shorthand. But this sort of where it cuts to his actual chest here, and it's it looks completely.
It's totally different, because the other one has kind of boss-eyed nipples, just sort of
yeah, it's all a bit.
But it's they've got so good at making flesh. The flesh looks real, but the shape's wrong, and it's slightly off-putting. It's really fucking well.
It's still fantastic. I still take it over CGI stuff and everything, but it's good, man. It's good, it's good. It's good. Again, it doesn't. There are things that you go, well, it has internal logic, and it's answering its own questions, so it's okay. It's you can pry into it. And it's I don't like it, but it's again. If there's decent subtext for it, if we're saying something more about this than just, well, that would make sense. If that takes you out of the film, then you have no business really watching films. It's this. That's not the point. The point is, what's his experience? How do we? As long as his experience is true to sort of a human on a human level, it's fine.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have to be human. We can see that in all sorts of, Superman doesn't have to be. This is what I don't fucking get. It's all these people who say, I can't write Superman. It's boring. He's too high. He's got too much power. Or whatever. It's you fuckers don't get it, do you?
That's such a hoary old thing. Really people love trotting that out as well. It's he's boring. He's got too much power, and it's kind of think about it. There's more to it than that. It's not about whether or not he's going to win against a fart monster. So, the bigger things.
That's the level people think on, man. But it's but then show them something with actual because then they'll go on about how brilliant the Dark Knight is or whatever, and it's right, because we spoke about more than just punching someone in the face for 2 hours. What is wrong with you?
I've got a good chat twofer here. 2 related comments. Rob Myers. Brilliant. Rob Myers kind of mirroring what we said. So that cannon in his chest doesn't displace his organs at all. I think it would be hard to breathe. And it's what the fuck? However, Ash CGC comes in with this fucker, which is this. Whoa. My father had half his rib cage removed whilst fighting in India, World War II. His heart was moved across from mostly centred to mostly to the left, beneath the remaining half of the cage. Wow, we were. Jeez Louise. Well, there you go.
Hardcore motherfucker.
That's the stuff, isn't it?
Jesus. And was he an Iron Man too?
Yes. Did he get? No, we shouldn't make distasteful. I'm going to leave that one alone. But
mate, that is fucking
that's wild, isn't it?
Props to your dad, man.
That is
good on him. Like that's hardcore.
Adrian Mendoza. Hi, Adrian. For you guys, and you probably answered this question. Were you guys comic book readers? Yeah, we both were. I think we read different stuff, didn't we? But I guess we probably read the same.
Not religious. Stuff. I mean, I couldn't afford comics, so the odd ones that I had, I read over and over and over again as a kid. Like I couldn't afford lots, so but I did have things like the graphic novel type dealios. Like I had a bunch of those because. Because you got lots of comics in one, essentially.
Yeah,
so I never, but I wasn't subscribed to anything or anything like that. But I did have a few. Yeah, I remember having a bunch in that. Dad actually bought me in Jordan when I was out there visiting him. I think it was in Jordan, and I just had these like Superman comics and stuff that I sat reading over and over again, like with Brainiac. So I was back when he had a mullet.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. The super mullet and the black suit. Oh, well, and just the mullet for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just the mullet. Yeah, I think he had the normal suit, but yeah.
90s suit.
Anyway, but there you go. A lot of So basically, I read a lot of graphic novels and a lot of unrelated like issues that I never saw the other like issues of. So I was just random stories that had neither a beginning or an ending.
Right.
Anyway, there you go. Sorry, that's my comment.
I never read American things. In fact, I actively disliked American things, and actually American things because you did get you got I don't want to call them repeats, reprints over here bundled together. But I just bought my 2000 AD every week, and owing to my status as paper round kingpin, I could afford to buy my comic every week.
Paper round kingpin.
Yeah, well, because my mum and dad couldn't give us any money, I went and got like 3 paper rounds, so I fucking used to buy bloody comics with it. But I was never into American stuff really. I actively disliked Marvel comics when I was a kid, and DC really, but then Superman and Batman hooked me a bit. And I still don't really, if I'm honest, like I've got really interested in the lore and stuff because of the movies and TV, but I've never really read Marvel comics particularly or found them that exciting. DC had all the kind of classic stuff that I got into Superman and Batman, but it was all the British comic stuff that I bought week on week, which I've now regretfully have a groaning cupboard full of. Which is going to be interesting. So yeah, I read comics but British comics, so this kind of stuff I always knew about this stuff, and when my friends had it I'd pick it up and read it and go like, this is garbage. I want to go back to my fascist policemen shooting litterbugs and jaywalkers. Which I was, I'm sure I was wrong about, but there you go.
So you just read British because Brexit means Brexit?
Precisely, yeah. In the 90s. I was way ahead of the curve.
Right, yeah, way ahead of the curve.
My friendly newsagent, Nigel Farage, used to sell me my 2018 and a bag of gumdrops. He used to talk a lot and I didn't understand most of
it. He went on and on. But very floral ties.
I just put water down my front, which probably
yeah. Right, so you're the paper.
Just little 13-year-old me with my bag of licorice whips and fucking comic, just like, yes, Mr. Farage. Can I go and deliver these 1,000?
It's time to learn about free enterprise.
Can I go and deliver my 900 copies of the Daily Mail now?
Yes. There's extra copies for everyone.
And the Express. It's a good paper.
Oh, it's a good paper. Yeah. So. Yeah, this scene I love. This is one I was talking about with the pie, man, the pie from the thing, because he sort of flips on him and it shows you what a nasty piece of shit Obadiah Stane is, right? Because it's like, is it in this scene where he puts the thing in his ear?
No, that's later on. That's right,
later?
Yeah. But it's these kind of scenes that make you like him and shit, isn't it? And yeah, the thing.
You sort of sympathise with these because I've got to have this technology. Why are you stopping me from having this? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it's a sort of war of minds and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah.
I think Rob just dropped something. Let's turn it into fucking. Sorry, Rob. I don't want to make people swamp you with questions. The black robot is recycled from a commercial I worked on with Stan Winston Studio. I think that being the classic arm dunce robot from the Iron Man films? Is that the black robot you're talking about? That's fucking amazing.
The one, the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, because that one comes back, doesn't it? Like, if that's what he means.
Yeah. It's the one.
Yeah, amazing.
He's always telling off.
Yes, yeah. He puts a dunce hat on it in like is it the second one? It's got like a dunce hat on it.
Yeah.
I love this. The flying stuff in this is great. Like, it looks really cool. Everything's got kind of weight, and those kind of fake little camcorder bits. What is it like? I think when he goes for his first flight, and then he goes through the floor of the base. He tries to land back, and he just goes like, he lands on the car. Yeah. This gives it really, because he's going like no, because he's going into cars and stuff. That's great.
Yeah.
And it gives a real sense of how fucking dangerous this is as well. Like, because he very nearly fucking kills himself testing this shit.
Yeah, the first time when he just gets flung back into the wall, he does it at like 10%. He goes, not the car. Yeah, and isn't he land and then the thing just douses him?
I think when he's like, like afterwards.
That's all it does.
So I think Favreau has a real lightness of touch. I really think that. And again, he himself says he directed this film like a comedy, and a lot of the dialogue's kind of, if not improvised, but kind of workshop with the actors and stuff, and it really comes across. And I just think, because that's the gag of doing something wrong and also too late is as old as time itself. So when he goes over and the robot gets him with the fire extinguisher and stuff, it's a great bit of stuff.
This is the bit I sort of was annoyed at in the cinema, because it's just like, and now he has armor. It's like all this stuff he's been doing, all this testing. It looks like he's building it himself, and then he just suddenly goes beep boop, and then a machine under the floor builds it for him. It's like, what was that?
It does seem that he kind of more or less just tells Jarvis to make these things for him. And Jarvis makes them.
Yeah, and it's like, what is Jarvis? What's under there? A factory? Like, you built a factory under your house that builds things and can build anything, apparently. Like, it's like, what? Like, that's... I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to see the film in which it's like 100 hours long where he builds everything, but it's like...
I think a lot of it's I take it because it's a bit annoying. It's a bit like the heart thing, but I take it because it's a good economy of storytelling. You don't want to get bogged down in that stuff.
Yeah, it has to be that.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to...
No, you're right, and I do agree, but it's kind of like, I sort of wish there could have been a bit more...
I totally know what you mean, because it's kind of like, so is his house fucking magic? Like, what are you saying? Like, what is this? There's little fucking elves under there.
There could have been more establishing.
Rob again. The black arm was originally meant to be a yellow industrial robot. I replicated it in CS for a few shots. Rob Myers. Hollywood effects legend. Rob's got an interview with Rob on the channel if you haven't watched it. Back. I got to see some full body T2 puppets when I went to shoot the texture reference. There you go. Yeah, I've seen some of the T2 props. They brought them to the opening of the cinema I worked at when they were owned by Prop Store of London, and I've got some. I didn't have a stills camera at the time, so I took some footage of my camcorder, which I still got somewhere. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. There's something that hasn't come up yet, which is something that I always fucking go on about because I'm a tedious, broken record of a man. But it is a creative choice in this, because I assume, I don't know, my assumption is that Stark Industries is in New York in the comics, and then Stark Tower goes to New York later on in this series. But they made it's a deliberate choice to set it on the West Coast to differentiate it from, because like everything that was coming out was in the East Coast or things that look like the East Coast. So there's the kind of New Yorky based stuff. So they made a choice to set it apart and set it in California, which really works, because like the Malibu beach house and stuff, the locales don't look like most superhero movies that are coming out at the time. Lots of dark scenes and things like that, and this needs to be that slightly more aspirational futurist thing. I do love that his first thing is like, I'm going to fucking space, and it's like, no, you're not.
yeah. Well, it's an Icarus thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's his ice rather than fire. But yeah, sorry for bringing up subtext again.
It's just about a man. It's just about a flying robot man, Duncan. When I was a kid, I used to think the Stormtroopers in Star Wars.
No, the ice thing is because later on it pays off.
Did you know that later on the same thing happens and it makes the story end? Oh, thanks, IMDb trivia. Oh, also, sorry, I'm just. This movie, I remember watching this, and the the Obadiah Stane Tony Stark fight at the end is a better robot fight than any of the ones in the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Like, it's better than any of them.
Yeah.
Like, you can see what's going on. I care about the characters. Like, everything has weight. I just don't. Yeah, so he falls on that car and it just douses him.
Yeah. And this just puts his head back. Like, oh. See, but now he has consequences. That's what I don't understand. Now he holds a thing on his head, like whereas before he fell out of the sky into the desert in a tin can.
Yeah, it's all a bit. It's a bit sort of cartoony. It's a bit sort of cartoony.
Yeah.
See, this is they do this again in well, they don't do it again, but they have this in Endgame, don't they? When they send his chess piece out on the river.
That's what his Viking funeral sort of thing is that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the Ten Rings was the Mandarin, I think, was supposed to be the main bad guy for this, and they were still doing that, I think, when they had their cast and they were rehearsing and stuff and making it Obadiah. I think Obadiah was going to be the bad guy in a latter movie, and they ended up changing it as they went. So much of this was kind of like, again, we both hate how. Oh, did you know the moment when Robocop gets shot in the head was improvised? So Peter Weller allowed Curtis Smith to shoot him in the brain. Hate all that crap. But yeah, they were on a completely different path. It seems. I think one of the things was, and again, it kind of seems ironic now, but Mandarin is like a magic villain, and I think they were like, well, we can't introduce magic in this so early, or at all. And then obviously later on, because they're doing the Shang-Chi movie, and the proper Mandarin's going to be in that. I, for the record, fucking loved fake Mandarin. I thought it was brilliant. Trevor, with
I think that's one of those things where it's kind of like I would have liked it more if we then went on to talk about the real Mandarin, as in and actually had the Mandarin, like, which it seems like is what they're doing in hindsight. But it's like, because I think when teamed with the Guy Pearce was actually the Mandarin, kind of, but not really. It's one of those like. Wasn't it? Things suggestive and like what's really the real thing, and it was a sort of basically it felt like a cheap version of the Ra's al Ghul thing from Batman Begins, and it's like I wasn't as on board with it, but it's fine. I love I love it in isolation, but I didn't love it in terms of the film,
I kind of did, and the thing is, and I can see why you'd be pissed off as a Mandarin fan, but the fact is you're going to get your Mandarin, so don't worry about it. And they fixed it as soon as that. Did you see the Mandarin one shot where the guy goes to visit him in jail? The Drew Goddard one?
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome, and had Justin Hammer in it as well. They kind of set it up that long ago, but I don't
care enough.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think either of us really
like
give a shit.
Things I was like,
it was, what I liked was how, like, they there's this massive dick slap, and it is a dick slap. It's not a bitch slap or a hand slap or a backhand. It's a dick slap where the Mandarin walks out of the toilet and makes a shit joke, and then it's like, wait, what the fuck? And and he's this kind of what is it? He's the toast of Croydon, wherever that is. I think Guy Pearce says. I really liked all that. I think it was great. It really kind of fucked you around, and then it looks like you're going to get your mega kind of magical Ten Rings Mandarin thing, so there's that as well.
But,
Phil Robb, I thought that just was hilarious. You could smell the hate in the screening. Yeah, I went to see it. I went to see it to review it, and the person I was with had some friends in the screening, and I was like, "Oh, that was brilliant." And we walked past his friends on the way out, and they were on the escalator at the cinema going, "Oh, it's fucking bullshit! It's fucking..." They were like foaming at the mouth, like angry at what had gone down. I can see. Hey, look, I can see why. If it was one of my precious fucking things, I probably would have shat the bed as well. But
yeah, I mean, it's like RoboCop 2014 in a way. I suppose I don't care. I don't care about the Mandarin enough to sort of for it to bother me that much. But it felt a bit like a smug idea rather than a actually good one, because it's like, what? How did that pay off in the rest of the film? I know the sort of the big payoff is that Guy Pearce is really the bad guy and stuff, but it was like, honestly, I don't think that was the character to do that with. I don't know. Like, I was just like, no, I don't know. I mean, because as well that they were kind of making him a mock like jihadist as
Well,
well. That was a bit of a
what I
weird...
liked about that was because the way because it was about how you manufacture a terrorist, and he's not a jihadist. He has the trappings of one, but what people are confused about is that he seems to represent a bunch of different cultures and stuff, and they designed him that way so no one could peg him to a certain movement or know what his motivations were.
Yeah.
So he had the trappings of jihadist thing, but they weren't actually jihadists. They had parts of they melded all this stuff together to make a boogeyman, and I liked that. It was a boogeyman designed by a committee, designed to fool people and stuff.
Yeah.
I know, I dug it. I thought it was interesting.
I suppose...
But I've spent half my life defending Iron Man 3. Apparently it's the most worstest film that ever came out, and it's just like, calm down, everybody.
Oh god, no, it isn't. It isn't the most worst film at all. And then,
I think you're kind of ambivalent, right? But you get people who are fucking still angry about it 8 years later or whatever, however long it's fucking been. You know. This is 13 years old. That troubles me. Makes me... and kind of now as well, because it was spring when it came out. So it's like, oh fucking Jesus!
It literally is 13 years old.
Yeah, but they filmed it 14 years ago. So there you go.
Yeah.
Though these two haven't changed drastically. He's got a bit more salt and pepper hair, hasn't he, RDJ? And he's got all kinds of hair. He seems to have seems to have lots of hair in this film. It's before he discovered the short back and sides. I don't know. People asking if Elon Musk is in this one. He's in the second one when they go to Monte Carlo. Elon Musk's in that bit. I think he just walks up to him and is like, "Oh, hey, Elon." Blah, 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 blah.
Let's go to space.
Intergalactic immunity. That's quite hard. It's quite hard to say, actually. I'm trying to copy what you said last week.
Intergalactic immunity.
What angers you more, Iron Man 3 or Watchmen? Well, Watchmen, because I like Iron Man 3. Maybe that was directed at you. I don't know. I know.
Oh, well, neither anger me.
Ambivalence.
I'm not angry about either. Couldn't give a shit, to be honest. I'm only saying how it came across in the cinema, but I mean, none of these really bother me. I don't think I'm able to be angry at a film anymore in the way I was once. So I'm too old for that. When I was younger, and you have opinions, and you're not browbeaten by life. A bit different now. It's kind of like I don't have time to be angry about a film coming out. You know what I mean? Just the solution is don't watch it. Yeah. Well, that's there is an incessant sort of desire to deconstruct superheroes and all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. I don't think there's much of an audience for it, but fill your boots, whatever. Because you kind of get old, you get a bit jaded, and you're just like, there's going to be more of these around the block. Like, there's no fucking way they're not going to reboot. I mean, for Christ's sake, now they're kind of there's supposedly going to be more Ben Affleck Batman
with Jared Leto.
There's the Batman. Yeah, but there's like the Batman as well, so I guess we're gonna have two continuities running at the same time or whatever. It is weird because bearing in mind, like, this cut, the Joss Whedon cut, the Zack Snyder cut, could have landed after like because in theory the Batman would have been out by now.
Yes, Jesus Christ! I remember talking about we did bloody podcast about that more than a year ago. You remember? Like, I think we did a couple of them.
I think was it due out this year?
I think it was due out this year. Oh,
really?
Oh no, but it's 2021. Oh my God, nothing means anything anymore, Duncan. Was it meant to come out the end of last year? Last year being 2020. Was that it? And we talked about it at the end of 2019. It's also meaningless now, isn't it? Nothing means anything.
Yeah.
Nothing means anything.
I know.
Oh my God, it's best.
I know, it is really, really, really weird. It's like now, like there's so many films in the can as well that are just like that should have been out. I mean, things like Bond, obviously, and Black Widow, and all these things where it's like, are these going to be Are these going to feel really out of place when we watch them finally? Yeah. Because they're living in a world that just doesn't exist.
So Disney have finally pulled the trigger on Black Widow. It's going to go to Disney Plus and theaters simultaneously.
Oh, right.
They've announced, I think, in the last couple of days, which, this is such a thing, isn't it? Because they're doing that because loads of people don't want to go to cinema. Not all the cinemas are going to be open in all of the countries. And when it's on Disney Plus, it's going to cost 20 quid, right? Like Mulan did. So,
okay.
It's not going on Disney Plus like the fun, cool way it will go on Disney Plus. It's going on in the give us more money for the thing you already give us money for way. So I don't know if I can't see myself dropping 20 quid on that, man. Well, not even because of I would probably have been up for going to see it in the cinema, but like paying that money to watch it.
Yeah,
in
I would have
front
dropped
room.
12 quid. Yeah, I'm not desperate to see it. Like, that's the thing. It's like it's one of those films where it's like I would love to see that in the cinema because it did look really cool. Like I saw the trailer ages ago and I was like, that doesn't look really good. Like,
David
I like
Harbour as
Scarlett
communist
Johansson.
Captain America is that's the best thing. That's great.
No, it looked really cool, but I was just like, yeah, I wouldn't pay that. I mean, I guess I feel like duty bound to do that with James Bond if they did that, But at the same time, I don't really want to see No Time to Die for the first time at home. Like,
It seems like a shame, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It seems like a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally, I'm happy to chill out on Marvel stuff for a while. I've been watching the TV shows because I'm paying for this, and WandaVision was fun. I've seen the first episode of that, but in terms of the movies, I'm happy to chill out for a bit. However, if Sam Raimi is doing Doctor Strange 2, then I'm fucking down to clown. Like, come on, of course. And Sam Raimi hasn't done anything for ages, actually. So, that alone would be quite nice.
Yeah. I don't get the mask in this, or the helmet, or whatever you want to call it. Like, they really want to have that thing so he can just like have it go ding, and his face is in, and it just flips up and down all the time. But it's like he puts like a frame around his head in 2 bits, and then the front bit goes on, and it's like, well, what's at the back then? Why is it in loads of bits? I don't understand. So
They really love having that.
Yeah.
I think the second one in particular suffers from floaty heads. I think there's some floaty heads at the end of this one as well, where they just go like glack, 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 when they move around. But that's the noise they make. Like someone shaking a sock full of plastic dominoes. As you traditionally would on May Day in Britain, when the mayor of your city walks the streets.
As you would in prison when someone ratted.
Plastic. I think if you're using plastic dominoes, you're doing it wrong. It's snooker balls or nothing, surely.
Sorry, snooker balls or soap.
Yes. The old Full Metal Jacket.
Hence the expression "soap to your dome."
Right.
Yes. But no. So here comes your RoboCop callback coming up.
Right. This whole scene as well, I love. It's so well covered, and it shows how the suit works, and all the sound design's great, and also there's a catharsis of him taking revenge on these arseholes for being arseholes to all these people and stuff. Because I like that that thing where they've got him at gunpoint, and you see his vision, and it kind of tags them all, and it just goes like, and all those bullets come out and just kill them. Superhero landing as well.
What was someone said? Was it? I think it might have been in the How It Should Have Ended of this film ages ago, when it's like, the tank buster missile that he's got.
Oh,
thing. It's like at the end when he's fighting Obadiah Stane, he just goes, tank missile. Just blows him up. It's like, why doesn't he use it?
Straight up, never thought of that. That's a very good point.
That's your answer for everything, isn't it? Surely.
I like that they kind of take the piss out of that with the bunker buster in the second one. When War Machine fires it, and it just goes.
It literally farts. But then Tony, doesn't he have those lasers?
Laser
that
thing,
you can only use them once, but they go.
I kind of like that. They call back. They give the powers get callbacks because he uses the lasers again. I think in Avengers, isn't he? When they're cutting the fan out in the helicarrier. There you go. There's the RoboCop thing.
Yeah,
fucking sweet.
yeah. Because you see, yeah.
Oh, and it's for that guy as well.
Because you see that. You see the because he ejects like a cartridge out of it. But I think later on it's like he makes it so that he can put more in, like on the fly, like he can reuse it or something. There is a bit of narrative there. Yeah, it's really great, all that stuff. There was a game connected with this as well.
There was.
Like, he just got shot out of the sky.
That's a very good shot, that tank.
Yeah.
I watched
Survival.
Adam Savage from Mythbusters. He made now I don't know how you 3D print titanium. It was a 7-minute clip. I don't know how that works, but he 3D printed, it would seem, titanium plates, and he made a torso from Iron Man armor. So head, shoulders, and chest, and then shot at it with different guns to see if it was bulletproof, and it was. It's really exciting. He made he got one of those those ballistics gel torsos that you put yeah.
When you see it in slow motion, it's hilarious because it.
He did, one of those underneath. He shot it with all these different guns, and it was bulletproof. It was great. Wow. It was really good.
That's really
came up
cool.
on my YouTube feed this morning when I was getting up, and I was kind of like, well, I'm not getting out of bed for 7 minutes because I'm watching that. Oh, one of these guys is Coleman Reese from The Dark Knight with dark hair. Remember Coleman Reese?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy with the kind of Willow's
Sorry.
Peak. Yeah. I only found that out a couple of days ago. There you go.
Okay.
Also, Tom Morello, Ivan told me today, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine is one of the terrorists in the beginning. Apparently, yeah, he's like wearing headgear and stuff. You can't see him, but because he's in a Star Trek movie as well. I can't remember which one.
I saw him live once because he did it. Was it The Night Watchman or something? He did his own thing. He did his own solo act, and I think it was called The Night Watchman or something. It's pretty fucking good, man. He's a great.
He takes a piss. He's got a fucking degree in political science from Harvard. He was in Rage Against the Machine. Did his solo shit. Turns up in all the geek shit as well. You know.
Yeah.
It's quite funny when people on Twitter. I think it's quite a legendary tweet, but someone on Twitter going like, "Yeah, why don't you just stick to music and stop talking about politics?" And it's like, well, firstly, listen to Rage Against the Machine, but he replies and goes like, "Yeah, I've got a degree in politics from Harvard, thanks," or Yale. But it's like, yeah, don't tell me not to talk about politics.
Yeah.
Soda Drinking Corridor Janitor, hello there, $4.99. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here but as I'm here, Partridge voice. Who am I? I'm Iron Man. Another way to who am I? I'm Iron Man. Another way to answer that question is, who is Iron Man? Answer, I am. From the Steve Coogan live show. That's good Partridge deep cuts. Lessons in life management or Lil. I don't know. Look, he must be really but he gets £5 and I did it, and you were supposed to do it with the good voice. Did I do it? Anyway.
just checking the paid pal.
Yes.
Don't worry, there's another Alan's voice. So my dad sent us £10 this evening, lads. Thank you, Dad. That's very, very kind of you, and I hope you're doing well.
Philip.
And
Thank you
I'll
so
speak
much.
to you. I'm thinking of doing like the round of Tailgate beers.
Yeah.
So I need to do it with my mate Martin. Martin, who patrons will know, who directed, which is a Dumpling Farm, and we did a live commentary on that. And in fact, we should probably post that in Patreon, shouldn't we? So people.
Oh yeah, I mean they can still go back to, if they scroll down the post, they can go to the link and still access it. So they follow the same link, yeah.
Right.
So
Okay,
all that kind of stuff, you just go down the timeline.
I'm possibly thinking of making it available for Gen Pop at some point. But anyway, so yes, I was thinking of doing that, but I should do it with Dad as well. Anyway, also we received threepence from Edward Mason, who says in Alan's voice, "Loving the stream, guys. Currently watching with an Irish coffee and a segment of."
That's fantastic. I can't believe he paid us for that. We should be paying him for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I love the way he phones Rosie.
That's great, isn't it?
And he's just like, "It's me. No, it's me."
Yeah,
Like, you don't get it. I am the.
It's a suit. It's me. It's fucking awesome. They kind of they do that again, don't they, with him and Pepper, and then in Endgame and Infinity War, it's kind of a sad version of the phone call. I think. Doesn't he call her in Avengers when he's going to go up into the kind of the wormhole? Yes. They do a kind of. And then
it doesn't get through, does it? Because it's like the signal
drops.
Yeah. So it doesn't get through to it.
This is a nice bit of stuff because we just watched him murder a bunch of people. But when the guy, obviously the pilot's in danger, and of course he said, because the guy's parachute's not going to work, right? So he kind of does he grab it and kind of punch the thing, and it. And
it's kind of his fault as well. Well, sort of, but he gets shaken off the plane and goes through that guy's wing, so that's why he's crashing, right? So it's yeah. And no, this is a great thing. Like, it's a really nice. I wish there was a bit more of this in this film, because it's a bit of sort of superheroing. And it's superheroing on a sort of personal level. I think that's something that a lot of films miss, and the MCU is guilty of it as well. There's like, people like balk at Superman saving a cat from a tree, but it's like, but that's how you interact with them. That's how you know they're sort of concerned about people, rather than saving the world from a intergalactic monster with a big.
Willie, I knew you were going to say Willie.
May as well.
Big purple dong.
Who smashes it into the ground and fire comes out or whatever. Yeah, that's boring. Right, but like saving the cat from the tree, if you really think about it, is what makes them personable. Yeah. But that's what makes them interesting to watch. It's just like, come on, guys, it's layers.
It's what makes them human, and in Superman's case, he's not human. That's why it's interesting.
Yeah, well, exactly. And the point is that his biggest power is that he's more human than anyone. That's what gives him the most cred, right? Or the most. That's how he saves the most people, is by showing them how to be human. You know, to be good with what you've got. Don't, you know? And everyone can live by that, because everyone has power in some way, and it's like, use it for good, don't use it for bad.
Did you know, this is good bit of MCU trivia? Did you know that Thanos' bell end is flesh coloured?
No, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a fleshy beige colour. Yeah, so his colours are backwards. In the original cut of Endgame, his glands was on display just to show that point of difference. There's a scene where RDJ and Thanos get their dongs out, and they notice each other's glands because they're both circumcised, and that's their Martha moment. Why did you show me your belly?
What was the most recent thing with, like, people calling it Martha Manhunter now? Because it's like,
okay.
That
scene was very clearly not meant to be Martha Manhunter. It's laughable, and it was a really, you know, the shit scene in the theatrical one with Martha and thing, and then the Snyder one. The Snyder one's way better, but then you had to go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like, "I'm the Martian Manhunter." No. Whatever. I think I've caused consternation in the chat. My favourite is from Annalise, and it says, "What the hell is he on about?" Phil Rob says, "I'd like to know that detail." Thanks, Rich. No worries, Phil Rob. Everybody, can we all just go and add that to Thanos' wiki, please? Important fact. So this guy's the guy, the bald Ten Rings guy, is the captain of the Kelvin, the ship from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Yes. And
I saw him in something else recently. He's weird. He seemed to be in a bunch of stuff around this time, and then I don't recall him being in much else that I know about.
He was in 24 as a terrorist.
Right. What, around this time, or kind of earlier, or like
earlier? I think slightly earlier than this, but yeah, around this time. Yeah. No, he's good. He's really good. You know, and he's great. He's great in Star Trek. I think.
Yeah, it's great. Really small part. Really good kind of small part.
Yeah.
With Chris Hemsworth, of course. In that one scene. Those Hemsworths, they do get around, don't they? I quite like, this is great because Obadiah sort of goes to the tent with him, doesn't he? And he does the thing, and then when they leave the tent, everyone's just dead. Like, and it's happened really quietly. Like,
yeah.
It's great.
Well, a great shorthand for his kind of, you know. I mean, this is the turn point, right? That you now realise.
Yeah, you fully get it, and then it kind of sets you off for the rest of the movie, which is kind of, I will say, because I've talked about this in kind of first, second, and third acts, and I really need to look at it a bit closer because it seems to be one of these films that doesn't necessarily adhere to that structure, at least not in a kind of predictable way. Because I always feel like it's not quite like so I watched Colossal the other day, which I really liked, the Nacho Vigalondo movie, and that seems to be, like, as far as I can see, like a 6-act movie, because you know not all films have to follow that structure. Annalise says, having a conversation, and just in the quiet lull, Thanos' bell end. I love just like ruining people's conversations. Like, if you ever half listen to one of these streams, you know, you're going to have a bad time. Yeah, actually, I just realised.
I like that bit.
So go. No, go on. You first.
No, I was just going to say I like the sort of thing. Like, again, it's never really explained, but it's like he has earplugs that glow blue. It's obviously some sort of like frequency that renders you. You know, it's like you don't need to know any more than that. Like,
you don't need a scene fucking explaining it. I was just going to say that, so you know, like, it makes the kind of blue veins show up on. It's kind of like, you know, when he's getting poisoned by the arc reactor in the second one, and he has those kind of blue tracks. Yeah. I like those are kind of like square sort of Tron shaped techno tracks that happen in the second one. But yeah, I like it. I like this. This version of the suit as well. I just like this is going to sound so... Well, no. I like the distribution of colour on this suit. I like where the reds and the golds are. I think it just works really well. It's probably my favourite one of the suits. I know there's like 12T. But it's like, I just really like... And also this one's quite beefy and sort of chunky because I guess it's an early one. And I like all that as well when it's in pieces, like one of his cars, and there's just all shit hanging out of it, and you can see that there's something because it is in danger of just being magic, isn't it? Like you said with the house building it and stuff. But it shows there are.
Well, it literally becomes late. Yeah, later on it literally is magic because it's just freaking nanobots or whatever that can form anything. It's right. But then at that point it's kind of like it may as well be because who cares? Done. If you had to explain what happened, like it would just. Hey,
when you're friends with a raccoon and a wizard and a green giant, I'm fine with it then. If the first film opened with the nanobot shit, I'd be kind of like, oh, okay. Hey, Michael Small's in. Oi, oi! Ask your wife about the Thanos' Bellend talk. She'll catch you up. What else we got out of the chat? Okay. We're good.
And this is a sort of Batman-y type scene, isn't it? Because she's just like, why do you have to do it? Because no one else can. It's that sort of...
Where's the trigger
thing, isn't it? It's like,
no, sorry, that's
but obviously a bit more layered because it's kind of like, why are you throwing it all away?
I suppose we should probably throw some. We should probably throw some Nolan Batman at a vote one time. You and I have never talked about those. We've never done any Nolan Batman anything in a.
I think we spoke about Batman Begins, didn't we? On a.
Oh, we didn't. It Ain't Broke. Yeah, that's right. You did the Dark Knight with Ben, right, or Liam?
Yeah.
Okay. So we did do
Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of those in ages, and I should. I need to watch Batman Begins again because I'm pretty convinced that's the best one, despite how everyone loves the Dark Knight.
Well, I suppose at some point, maybe not next week, we could put all three to a vote.
Yeah.
But then I guess the Dark Knight would win.
Who knows? I mean, yeah, probably not next week because then that is superhero-tastic all the way through, isn't it? It'll be 3 weeks of superheroics. Duncan said, slamming down his glass. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I liked it. You were weirdly hard-boiled for a man who does streams on the internet.
Well, I can act hard.
I can act, and that's good enough. Really, that's all you need. Just don't follow through to the fisticuffs. That's not what you want.
What's the Eddie Murphy thing where he's like talking about getting beat up in a nightclub, and he's like, "Put me in a movie, I'll kick your ass." I'm 140 pounds, like where was it? I ain't kicking nobody's ass.
Did you watch Coming to America too?
Yeah. No, you told me not to.
Oh yeah, of course I did. Yeah, it was crap. That's what I'm saying. I'm not really I
didn't really care, and it was like, if you say it's shit, if you say it's shit, I'm not going to waste any time on it. So,
well, that's why you didn't get that second mortgage, right? Because I told you second mortgage is shit now. That's quite like the idea of me dictating your life by going, no, that's shit. Yeah, no, it was kind of crap, man. I sort of wanted to like it, but I was just like, no. Because, Changing Places is fucking awesome. And they are a shared universe. Them's the facts. Oh, Dan Lyles. A wild Dan Lyles appears. Where have you been, sir? It's Barry Sonnenfeld's birthday next Thursday. Put Adam's Family Values on the vote. Well, we did the Sonnenfelds and Adam's Family lost. If I could shoehorn in Adam's Family Values to a vote, I fucking well will. Believe me. Floyd Dillon saying Dark Knight, Batman 66 and Batman and Robin. I'd defo put... You could do Batman 66.
Well, we know what would win it. Like, come on.
Oh, no, but if you did Batman 66, Batman and Batman Begins... I think that... Okay, Batman 66 was the one I would want to talk about. I don't think it would get a look in, but it's the one I would want to talk about because it's great. But I think it would be contentious between Batman and Batman Begins. That's one of those things that people get really mental about as well, isn't it? Really kind of zealously insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. This is a great scene. This is pure menace. And the way he's standing over her as well, because she's sat down. He sits on the desk and stuff.
Yeah, because you feel like they have a history, right? These are people who've known each other for a long time, Hey, we're all hanging out and having pizza. No, we're eating pizza from New York and having a good time. Yeah.
And it's kind of like because it feels like he's sort of undoing her. Like he kind of, you think he knows, and he's just sipping his drink and staring at her and shit. And he kind of, it seems like he's onto it, right? Because like he realizes when she's gone. But...
This is also where, like, I've spoken about this before, and I think possibly what works, I think what works. It is kind of the model of Superman and Batman Begins, and like it's that thing of cast well-known actors around. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was well-known, but like cast well-known actors around the central character. I think possibly why it works well is because Robert Downey Jr. is allowed to essentially be himself, yes. And it works so well for the character. Yeah. But what I mean is it's like in scenes there where it's Jeff Bridges talking to her and he's just being nice and he's just being affable and Jeff Bridges, and it's kind of like that's where it works because you're like, well, we know Jeff Bridges. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So when he's being nice and affable, if there's undertones of but he's also an evil prick. Yes. That makes it all, it's the Ronnie Cox thing,
exactly
right?
the Ronnie Cox thing.
Work.
Exactly, yeah, precisely.
And so that's what I think works about it. Whereas, when you've got Ben Affleck being Batman, I do think that's a problem because you've got someone bigger who brings more to it's like it's got to be Ben Affleck as Batman. It's not Batman. It's not Bruce Wayne. It's Ben Affleck if he were Batman.
Well, I think we talked about this last week.
I think
it's the weird thing of no names as Batman. Known names as Batman and no names as Superman. It seems to be the commanding logic, And I mean, I didn't think Affleck was bad, but it's like you say, ultimately it's Affleck as Batman. I think that because Kevin Feige didn't want, and I think Marvel didn't want Downey Jr. And Downey Jr.'s career was not in a good place and stuff at the time, and I think Favreau fought for him. And yeah, he I think that's kind of like that, and like you say, you have these people around him. So it's not like he's like a nobody, but he's someone who was on the rocks for a while, and and like you say, he gets to be himself, and he inhabits this role like so nicely. Because if you see him in interviews, he just seems really like this guy, doesn't
he? Yeah, and it's just sort of the fast talking, whatever guy, and it's like no, I think. I just think it's perfect casting. Like, obviously, he's absolutely right for it. But I suppose what I mean is there are some characters where having an actor's baggage come into it actually works in their favour. But I think in Jeff Bridges' case that works really well. And it works with something like Rooster Cogburn as well. It's actually, that he brought a thing to that was it was Jeff Bridges's. I'm gonna do a ringy voice stick, that was that, but but it worked really well, and so yeah, no, I love Jeff Bridges. I don't think there's anything I've seen him in that I didn't like.
No, I think anything he does, even if he's in something not that interesting, he's just magnetic, isn't he? He's just so good to watch. It's like a bespoke device to fucking pull his heart out, which is great.
Yeah, right.
And hey, look, it's your fucking surrogate dad literally pulling your heart out. Not literally, kind of, sort of. It's figuratively. Subtext! Or text. I just don't know anymore. Oh, yeah, because, as Captain Meets Adventures, I'm sure Downey Jr. got paid about $800,000 for this. I know that one of the reasons Terrence Howard didn't come back is because he wasn't getting as much as Downey Jr. And Downey Jr. wasn't getting that much comparatively to what he ended up getting. I don't know the actual numbers myself for sure.
Yeah.
But, that's... Yeah, I can see why he wouldn't get a lot because he did it in one of his kind of spells. Do you remember he was in Ally McBeal for a bit? And then he lost that job because he fell off the wagon in some way or another. Which is really sad to see. Do you know what? I think it's a great redemption story of Downey Jr. because it was really sad to see all that when it was happening, and the fact he's kind of managed to turn that round and have a family and sort of have a career and stuff is really nice because he's a really fucking talented dude, man. Like. Even I remember seeing him when he played the bully in Weird Science. I remember him just years back in that stuff and just thinking and liking him, even when he's playing the knob cheese bully with the stupid haircut in Weird Science. It's a good makeup job as well when he's all kind of white,
ashen,
and sweaty and
because
I think he brings his baggage as well because again. Tony Stark, they go into a bit in Iron Man 2, but they never really did it in a full-on way. But there is a whole, it's called Demon in a Bottle, and there's a whole thing about Tony Stark being an alcoholic. And casting someone who's had addiction problems, that carries its baggage and stuff. And it gives that person a sort of unique insight into a character. Potentially, they ended up not really going there. Though the scene in Iron Man 2, remember when he's at that party and he's drunk in the suit. That's actually really scary. It's quite horrifying. It's sort of like when someone's drunk in charge of a car or a gun or a chainsaw. It's just like, oh my god, you're gonna fucking hurt some
Chimp with a hand
hand grenade. That's what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is, and it's all because it's also horrible because doesn't he end up hurting Pepper or something? And
yeah, he kind of I think War Machine turns up just in time, but he kind of does he?
Oh, that's right. There's a fight
Because he blows up the champagne bottle with the repulsor ray and stuff, and this is redemption for the robot here, by the way, as well. The poor robot that still gets shit in the sequels.
That's right. See, this is always my thing as well with this. I think this is what this does brilliantly, and what I wanted to see more out of something like. That's right. So it was the Dark Knight Rises, right? I always wanted the end of that, because again, it falls into the symbolism of him having to rise and having to go back to, having to rebuild and all that kind of stuff. And it's like this does this really well because it's like, he has to get his old heart, right? Yeah. He has to take his old heart because Obadiah's stolen his other one, and so it puts you already in a place of like, your hero has to fight with one hand tied behind his back, kind of, or has to fight, with a lesser version of what he has. And I was always like, they missed a trick, I think, in The Dark Knight Rises, where it's like, why didn't he, when he came back to Gotham, he had to put on the old Batsuit again? The one from Batman Begins and stuff, and not because it's just like he just turns up in the one he had before, and it's like, kind of wish you had to be a bit more retrograde, like in order to take off, because it's not about that. It's about you being a better version of you. And that's how you're going to beat him, not turning up all armoured up and fucking, like that was always...
It's thing, to go against what we've been fed. I don't even kind of get into that fucking movie right now. Really?
I also felt like... No, but I also felt that way with, like I said about with Man of Steel and stuff, and I wanted him to be in a kind of human-made costume at the end, and that would have been much better, as a symbol of, like, him having to fight. Also, I kind of wanted him to fight Zod in that as well, but obviously... you kind of wanted that more. Anyway. But this does it really well as well.
We got a super chat from Wincom Exchange.
Yes.
Cheers, man. Thank you. £5. Any chance of a Western theme down the line? Tombstone, Open Range, Unforgiven, for instance. Oh, and Fistful of Lead, of course. I'm not terribly up on Westerns, man. That's my problem.
Neither am I. I mean, obviously, I've done one, which is nice. And I love... Do you know what? I love being given, because when the fuck do you get the opportunity to make an independent Western in the UK?
Well, I was going to say the chances of you being one are pretty slender, or a Western in the UK whatsoever. So yeah, it's
So no, it speaks to the mad brilliance of Mark Price and his very kindly casting me in that. And I would be up for it. I mean, actually, Fistful of Lead, something I really need to bring that back, because I kind of spoke about me and Mark doing a commentary on that in the vein of what I did with
Mark could be up for it. Mark could be up for it. He's always game.
Yeah, for sure.
We should
definitely do that.
You absolutely should. I really like this. Is Cool Coulson. Cool Coulson is cool. Puts a little bomb and then he just kind of stands with his hands down. Look at this. All the agents just turn their backs. Bomb. You guys definitely should.
Must be at a different point.
I accidentally paused earlier when I was changing the subtitles. So it's fine. Yeah. I think we're the same broadcast. Go on. What's your time code? And I'll skip.
1:42:40. No, 1:42:50. No.
There we go. 50 now's not a number, but I found it. Yes. Haha. So Westerns, I just wouldn't want to do a bad job, is my unless you count Back to the Future 3 or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, in which case absolutely
I could do the broad strokes, and I could definitely talk about The Quick and the Dead and that kind of stuff, and
that was Sam Raimi, fucking Unforgiven, man. Unforgiven, Jesus Christ, but it's like 3 hours long. But what a fucking movie. It's not like I haven't seen any of them, but it's just one of these things. I need to watch more as an adult. It's something that I got put off as a child because they were always on. But because I see Rio Bravo and Wagon Train, like the old ones. But I wouldn't want to do a shit job of it. I think is my main issue. I'd rather do a shit job of films I do know and love, which I try to do on a weekly basis. We did have Vote Saxon 07 in And he says, best young Downey Jr. performance is easily Rodney Dangerfield in Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. Yes, that is. Also, Kurt Vonnegut is in Back to School. It's a fucking weird film. I think it's directed by someone weird as well. But there you go. Jessica Walter died today. Did you hear that? Did you much for Jessica Walter from, I was going to say Kirby with Enthusiasm. I mean, not that. She's also
Rigid Stays.
Rigid Stays. She's the mum in Archer as well, but she's the mum in fucking Arrested Development, and she's like an old Hollywood star. She's done loads of stuff. She passed away today.
Right.
So she's amazing comic actor. She's really fucking funny, man. That's how you get ants. Anyway, there's an Archer reference. There's a season 1 Archer reference for the kids at home who love this. Yeah, people in the chat going Arrested Development. So I know. I'm sorry. I just made a fart noise instead.
Shots like that where you've got someone in the foreground and there's tons of background apparently not filled by anything are always obvious setups for something.
Yes.
Come up behind you.
Yes. Oh, here's a void. Nothing's going to happen here. Not some kind of giant gorilla-shaped robot. Because all this stuff feels very like Robocop 2, doesn't it? Even as a spinning kind of gun thing, the cane stuff.
It sort of implies as well that like miniguns or whatever have to get up to speed kind of thing. It's like, yeah, but not over the course of 10 seconds. It's like, but
Duncan, it makes a cool noise. That's the thing.
It's like, well, it's obviously designed to make you freak out. Of course, I mean, I'm assuming it's still the case, but obviously these films are very heavily sponsored by Audi, which is why every bugger in this drives an Audi. Right?
What's the other movie? Like iRobot. Well, iRobot's like this insane product placement festival. But
iRobot, they used essentially the concept for the R8, which is what Tony Stark drives in this. It's what my friend had. One of my friends had an R8 years ago. I used to go out with him in. Cool car, but yeah, I think the I Am Robot one was very much the kind of concept for that because it had the round wheels, right? The sort of ball wheels that could then go any which way you wanted to. Do you remember?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. But that sounds really unsafe. So you could just sort of
the wheels
strafe
sideways
totally spherical. That's insane.
Yeah, like I think that was the point. It could go anywhere you want. Like,
how does that even work? Wait.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how the propulsion of them worked. The base of the idea was because it was running on 4 balls rather than 4 wheels. Right. Not testicles, you fucking child. So it could go.
Honestly, it was one. I was one atom away from going ha balls. You know me so well. I was so because obviously, of course, I was. Wasn't a lot of this redone? The end of this, like with the explosion with the bus that's just about to happen here. Right.
Wasn't that actually intended for something else?
Right, I didn't know.
I wish I could remember what it was, but it's like that might have been supposed to be the death of Obadiah or something. Like it was. I think that was filmed as something else. But it was. Yeah, because I remember. Someone in the chat will know, no doubt. But there was a thing which was like. That was actually meant to be something else. Oh, what was it? Maybe I'll remember. That exploding bus was for something else, and they just retooled it for part of the fight here. I think.
I like how inelegant Obadiah's suit is.
I was going to say, I love how as well, like he goes, boo, and he basically doesn't move for ages, like that inertia of getting him off.
If Iron Man wasn't there, it would look cool. But then you see the other suit just go shup, and it's like, yeah, yours sucks, man. And he's got that kind of big ape-like. I like the kind of ape-like the King, because they're doing a kind of King Kong thing, which is what Robocop 2 was doing as well. I like it. I like the thing. I just want to read out soda drinking corridor janitor's comment. I wonder which Richard knows less about, football or cars. Proving a negative is very difficult, so I'd hate to take that bet, but I can promise you that both of them are pretty fuzzy. I can tell you that much. Sooner or later, I do want to learn to drive, so that's going to be how I die.
Richard is literally car blind.
Yeah.
I think we
talked about it last week.
I don't think he saw my car on his driveway. I'm honest. I genuinely believe it was like it just wasn't.
I live on a main road, man. I just see groups of 4 people gliding down the street. That's so
you have this weirdly attuned reticular activator system that you will not see.
I thought Micro Machines were imaginary till someone pointed them out to me. I didn't know what the other kids were doing. You
just thought kids were collecting like carry cases and nothing,
can see the roads, not the cars. Why don't they make the cars, Mum?
What are cars? Also,
What are cars? Yeah, well, I remember we used to sit and we used to float our way to Yarmouth for our holidays every year, and then float back.
Did you think roads were some sort of magnetic like conveyance that you would go?
Hey, look, I every 4 years people sit around for the World Cup and watch a blank screen for a month. I just don't understand. They watch footage of grass. Everyone's really excited. It's like the Chelsea Flower Show, but no one can be bothered to put any plants in. I just don't understand. Oh, fuck.
I love that moment where he's lost his glove and he goes to like shoot.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just got his
Just a
hand.
hand. Which makes him into
Yeah.
remake RoboCop, doesn't it? With the exposed hand
Yeah.
that's going to get horribly mangled on your first
For
mission.
no reason.
Hello to Bell Boo, who's just turned Bell. I've only got one contact lens, Bell Boo, and also I saw Kirk Coffeeman's in. What's up, Kirk? How you doing, man?
Hey. Steve Allen says, "Hey Richard, for a western that Duncan could star in, do you think Strontium Dog? Can Duncan do a Milton Keynes accent?" Firstly, there isn't really a Milton Keynes accent.
I think that's he's pulling your leg with that, surely. What did you read Strontium Dog?
No.
Oh, Strontium Dog is by the same creators of Judge Dredd, but it's
I
the
mean,
other thing.
No,
No, I think you might have done by accident.
no, I know.
It's fun. You could be Johnny Alpha. I'd like to see you could do Johnny Alpha. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'd like to see that. I would direct Duncan Casey in the Strontium Dog movie. You need because Johnny Alpha, right, is the 2000 E mutants are way cooler than the fucking Marvel ones because they're all kind of like wonky freaks. There's a guy called Kid Knee whose head is in his knee, for example. It's great, and that presents all of the problems that would have instead of going, I can control the weather. It's like I have to lay on my back to eat because my stomach is above my head. It's great. His friend is a Viking called Wolf, but because Strontium Dog has time travel and he does bounty hunting across time, he's actually a Viking from Viking times that he brought back from a mission, and he's got to be a big huge dude with a hammer. So Mark could play Wolf probably, but you need a wolf to go with you. But yeah, I'd cast Duncan as Strontium Dog. That'd be wicked. I'd make you go live in Milton Keynes. I'd make you go method. You've got to live in Milton Keynes, mate. To get that, there isn't an accent. You've got to go to Milton Keynes and drive on roundabouts all day.
And time travel.
Yeah, and time travel. You've got to drive around the roundabouts in the car that you can't see and go to MK Dons football stadium to watch the football I can't see, and that's how you'll be a better bounty hunter.
Did Die Another Day make very little sense to you then?
He had an invisible, which I don't understand. He's just driving his car. I mean, he was just floating.
You just like, that's a car.
Well, this is more exciting because they're
Just
floating on ice instead of floating on a road. But yeah, no, that's
But
it.
then when he got in it, he disappeared, which was
No,
different
I
to
can see him
normal
in those
cars,
bits. That's my.
right? Right. But could you see all the ordnance, like all the missiles?
No,
and
just
shit,
him,
just
and also he
floating
had
over?
no clothes on when he got in. So I could just see his bum pressed against something. I was like, why is Pierce Brosnan's bum pressed? Da, 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 da. It's the best one, mate. Lee Tamahori's Die Another
Why
Day.
his glands flush colour.
I was wondering why his winky wasn't shrinky because it's so cold. But I guess he had heating on his heating on his invisible car. Oh,
we
God.
started watching. So we started watching the X-Files again.
Oh, right,
And,
okay.
But again, I never really watched it. There were the old episodes I watched and really liked when I was younger, but I never watched it properly. So we're kind of watching them slowly throughout the week and stuff. But there was one where it was very clearly influenced by The Thing, where they're in the Arctic and
Right.
an alien had been dug out of the ice and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, sure. I remember that one. Yeah.
You know one? It's called Ice, I think. And David Duchovny goes like, well, they're having to strip off to prove that they're not infected.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he goes like, may I remind everyone that we are in the Arctic because they're taking down the trout.
I think it's easy to forget, like, because I watched all of the X-Files when it was on, and it got really fucking annoying with the overarching story. The conspiracy stuff was all bollocks, in my view. However, great genre riffs, really good genre riffs, really funny takes on stuff, but also when the X-Files wanted to, the X-Files was really funny, man. Like, the X-Files was a really funny show with really good writing. Because Vince Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad, wrote really extensively for the X-Files, didn't he? And X-Files is hilarious, man. When they do, and I've watched some of the revival episodes. I haven't watched all of them. I watched a few, and they do one about there's an episode all about the Mandela effect, and it's fucking brilliant. It's so funny, really good. And then I think the one immediately after it was about the conspiracy, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is just as shit as it was in the 90s. But when they do concept ones and Watch for the Week stuff, like the one about the vampires with OCD, do you remember that one? So it's like the vampires have kind of OCD, so if you untie their shoelace or drop loads of things on the floor, they have to pick them up before they'll do anything. And Mulder and Scully are both remembering it from their own perspectives, and Luke Wilson plays the local sheriff. And in Scully's version, he's really suave, but in Mulder's version, he's got like massive buck teeth, and he's a fucking like redneck idiot. It's really good. It's very funny, like really great show. Well, intermittently. On and off, you know.
Yeah, because I know what you mean. Because when it was like Alien, like Roswell and Aliens and blah blah blah, and I was like, that seems like the thing you want to be making, but then all the kind of villain of the week stuff. Because it's 24 episodes.
It's the old school way, yeah.
Yeah. But all the more interesting stuff was all the other things.
And let's not forget in later seasons, Arpats comes in for you young people like Arpats, by which I mean Robert Patrick. He takes over because Duchovny leaves and Robert Patrick comes as Agent Doggett, and I really liked the Agent Doggett episodes, and I can't remember who replaces Scully, but X-Files was intermittently really really amazing, and other times kind of just annoying. And it's kind of like, oh yeah, dark helicopters and alien goo, and they've turned the bees into wasps so the wasps can go inside an elephant, and then they're going to go on a tractor which drives the center of the earth and blows up the earth's core, whatever. It's just like, okay, can you just do more funny things again?
Anyway, Iron Man.
This is great. This is I like this because they've set up the whole secret identity thing, and it just kind of goes nope, and he just kind of fesses up to it, and it sets the tone. It's like, that's what this is going to be. This is going to be, he's publicly Iron Man, no messing around. And
there's no need for him to have a secret identity either. Like, they sort of dick around with it, but then it's like, what does it achieve? Like, there's no point in him not, you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's a bodyguard. It's like,
yeah. Where does it get you?
What would be the point? Was it a thing in the comics that Tony Stark wasn't known as Iron Man?
I don't know. I don't actually know, having not read them. I don't know if because I think it was. I do believe for a time in the 60s he masqueraded as his own bodyguard. Yeah, I think it was that. But I don't know. Someone in the chat will probably say, I don't want to go into bat for that one.
Good night, Sam Duxbury.
Oh, Sam Duxbury's off. Good night, Sam. Take care of yourself. Before you go, Sam, I saw you ask 8 o'clock for Alien Isolation, part 4 of 90, on Saturday night, 8 o'clock. So we'll see you then, mate. I hope I didn't miss you. I'll put a thing on I'll put something on the community tab. Oh, Sam's there. Sorry. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put a thing on the community tab to remind you all as well. So yeah. I love how what's her name? The journalist from the beginning. She doesn't get up. You notice that? Because she knows. She's just
when it looks like he looks like he's looking at her as well when he says that. He's like,
now we get a bit of
it's
a bit of Ozzy Osbourne. Hey. And the kind of the first ever Marvel post credit scene, which is do you know the reason he's played by Samuel L. Jackson? You heard all this before, or?
Well, because wasn't he in the comics? He was drawn like Samuel L. Jackson, wasn't he? Like, he used to be more
originally as a white guy, yeah. And then they had a thing called Ultimate Marvel, which was its own continuity. And in Ultimate Marvel, Mark Miller and whoever the artist was based on Samuel L. Jackson, and they used to have jokes in the movie about him saying how he should be played by Samuel L. Jackson in the movie, and then they got Samuel L. Jackson for the movie, and here we are. Which I'm glad they did, because he's so good. Because the person to play Nick Fury before was David Hasselhoff, of course, and David Goyer wrote that movie.
Yes.
Hasselhoff, it must be said, looks like old school Nick Fury with the eye patch. I'm sorry, like I believe that I haven't seen that movie. It's supposed to be crap, but he looks like kind of old school Nick Fury. But Samuel L. Jackson he's so fucking good as Nick Fury.
He really owned it, didn't he? Yeah.
Did. Like, I mean, what do you even do with that now?
Yeah.
And as a man with a currently inactive eye, I've sympathised with the eye patch. I didn't have my eye scratched out by a space cat, but
I was going to say, isn't that what its later revealed to be.
Yeah.
His eyes.
The alien cat. Ash CGC, night all, wishing all Val Verdens the best. £3 from Ash. Thank you very much, Ash. God bless you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Excuse me. Oh,
Tired, Duncan. I am going to go for a pee. It's my turn to urine. Also,
Yes,
it is now
please do.
cold in here, so I'm going to close the windows. Now it's nearly 11 o'clock.
Yeah. What's occurring in the chat? The Hasselhoff TV movie is crap. Yeah, I'm not seen it. But I've seen the picture of it. But anyway, there you go. Awkward moments with Duncan, where he doesn't know what to say, and he's very tired and therefore not at all entertaining. Trying to read through some of your comments. You're of a certain age if you recall Red Shoe Diaries, Desperate Times, folks. Desperate Times, well, it was that or that page from the K's catalogue. I don't know where that's come from. But yeah, I remember the Red Shoe Diaries. That was Dave Duchovny, wasn't it? I don't know what. It was basically like a man walks around with an inner monologue and then sex happens or something, and that's it. But yeah, I sort of vaguely remember that. Definitely watched Californication though, because it's that but funnier. Have you watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Duncan? No, I haven't. I have not. I basically, for stuff like that, I have a brief couple of hour window on a Friday night and or Saturday night, and that's it. So there you go. I don't really get a chance. I do want to start on WandaVision soon. Last weekend was all about Snyder Cut, and the weekend before was about something else. But I would like to watch WandaVision, so I might start that this weekend. We'll see. Mr. Ricci, if you star in a musical done what would it be? I don't know. I haven't done a musical for a long time. I did a funny thing happen on the way to the forum in school, and that was probably the last musical I did. So there you go. What else? Are you looking forward to anything this year, Duncan? That's a very bleak question. I am looking. Yes, I am. I have lots to look forward to this year. As long as we get out of sodding lockdown, I have lots and lots and lots to look forward to. Not least of which is our short film that we're going to be making, but also a number of other films that are going to be cool. So there's lots of acting to be done, and I need to kind of I need to dust off my.
People are all over you, man. They're all over you. Suddenly, it's fucking great. You've got loads of shit going on.
Just wonderful, yeah. No, I know. I'm kind of getting a bit nervous, because I haven't done an awful lot in a long time. I did a corporate a few weeks ago, but I need to kind of get back into it. But no, there's lots to be done, and lots of they're all lead roles as well, which is really, really great.
Exciting.
It's really lovely, very exciting. So I'm just looking forward to kind of those things start to kind of coagulate and manifest, and that's when those things start to happen. I think it's going to be a very exciting year. What with that and what I've got going on business wise, so it's all to play for, man. I am very excited. Duncan, what happened with that underwater shoot where you got pissed off? Don't know what you mean. What
did you do?
What happened with that?
Did you do an underwater shoot?
I mean, I have done.
Did you?
I don't think I got pissed off.
I don't know about that. I don't know nothing.
I don't know about that.
Nobody tells me.
Duncan, any particular type of villain you'd like to play? No, I don't know. No, I mean, just a cool one, I guess.
Not Lex Luthor, because that's for me. I'll play Lex Luthor.
No, not Lex Luthor. I don't think I'd be a very good Lex
You could do
Luthor,
Zod. I think you could do Zod.
Well, I will find him.
Planet Houston.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't think. Do you know what? I just don't think in those terms anymore. A lot of people say, "What's your ideal role? Do you want? What do you want to be the next James Bond?" Blah blah blah. And honestly, not. I don't. think in those terms anymore. I try not to pigeonhole myself in that way because you know what? I'll just probably spend a lot of time being frustrated that I'm not that thing. And it's like there's no. I just want to find my feet. You know, I want to find that whatever it is that kind of works for me and gets me out there and gets me going. So I would love to. I really want to work with Brad again. I mean, we did a bit for Grand Isle, but you know, I really want to get my teeth into something with him. I mean, he's kind of a high flyer now, which I'm kind of like, but I would love to like do a really meaty role because you know what as well. It's like I know it sounds really greedy to want to be a lead actor and stuff, but it's kind of like I'd love to be the lead in something with him, not because I'm the lead and it's all about me, but actually because you get to work on a thing with people you really like and admire for ages, you know, and that's both scary and exciting and edifying and all sorts of things, and it's wonderful. So I would love to have something like that to get my teeth, because really the last thing I did that was like that was Erica. Like I haven't had anything that I could spend a few months doing that was exciting and fun, partly because of COVID, you know. I mean the last year and a bit has just been dead, but yes, but there are things in the wings, you know, that I'm going to get to do that are like that, so I'm very excited. Sorry to talk about myself.
Please, that's what people wanted to know.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Steve Allen, do you think Spaced is bizarre now that Simon and the cast are all pushing 50? I don't know, it's kind of a window on the past, isn't it? That was a place that was about people who are in their mid-20s in the late 90s, you know, so I think it is what it is. I mean, it still works for me.
Is your end scene?
Sorry?
This is the end scene. Have you turned yours off now?
Oh, sorry, I'm in the other window. We're
Nick
still watching the
Fury
film, guys.
Yeah.
More knives,
I
Nick
mean,
Fury.
now that we know what we know about Nick Fury, it's like, do you think he would do that? The Avengers Initiative, like, is it?
I'll link Michael Baines' question. Favourite on-screen copper: Sergeant Harry, Dirty Harry, or Serpico? Danny Butterman. You ever shot a gun in the air and gone, Danny Butterman's my man, and I'm not walking that back.
Danny Buttman.
Danny the Buttman. Do love Dirty Harry though. I always loved the Dirty Harry films when I was younger. Still do actually. But, all of them I like.
I don't think I've seen all of them, but
the last one has Jim Carrey and Liam Neeson in it.
It's called Deadpool.
Yeah, the Deadpool. It's fucking weird, is what it is. It's a fucking weird film. Jim Carrey's not in it much. He plays kind of like I think he's like an English punk rocker who dies, and then Liam Neeson plays comedy English film director, music video director guy, with ropey accents galore. I don't think no. Jim Carrey's not English in it, but Liam Neeson is. Yeah, it's great. It's got a remote control bomb car in it. It's great. It's really silly, and it's like tonally completely not like the Don Siegel movie. Like, it's great. I kind of love it. Yeah. I got loads of time for Magnum Force as well. Actually, Magnum Force is great. The second one with David Saul's going to be there. He is. He's in Magnum Force. So there you go. But you know.
Yeah, I've seen Dirty Harry and I've seen Magnum Force, and I think I've seen one of the others.
Sudden Impact. Did we?
No.
Okay. No, Sudden Impact and the
Enforcer.
Yeah, and then the Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted that fucking box set, man, and I waited so long that discs are basically obsolete. But it was always too much money. It was always like 70 quid or something. I was like, if I can do that, motherfucker. I'll tell you what, actually, here's something I did want to bring up whilst we're on air. I'm rewatching season 1 of The Walking Dead. Because just to set my stall out, The Walking Dead is an awful, unwatchable joke these days, and I find it ridiculous that I ever took it as seriously as I did, because it's just embarrassingly written. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have any caveats, and they're ending it soon, so you know, whatever. The first season when Frank Darabont was in charge, it's like a fucking different show completely. It's just so nicely made, and it's got tension in it, because the current show has. People just do stupid shit for no reason all the time just to advance the plot, and it's just so ridiculous. And stuff happens for no reason, and they have these whole episodes where nothing happens, they're just treading water. That first, I think, 6 or 8 episode run, I'm 2 episodes in, particularly the pilot. And I know, so Darabont directed he wrote the series and he directed the first episode. It's kind of like, yeah, there's all these creative choices. Bear McCreary has done the music all the way through. McCreary's music is completely different. Now they kind of do generic-y sort of like Southern Georgia music. Well, it's not generic, but the first season has whole sections where it's just silence or it's just footsteps or things flapping in the breeze. It's so good. Like, it's so good. And I was thinking to myself, like, shit, if, like, because I know AMC and Darabont had troubles in a lawsuit and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder what we would have got, what that show would have been, because that first season is really fucking good. And I was watching it last night, and I just thought, I'm going to tell 100 strangers that. Because I demand they listen to me about my bullshit. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I think we got on well with it. I think I liked the first one. The second season I didn't like as much as the one in the house.
That's after Darabont got fired and they were trying to save money and no one knew what to do. So the second season is just the second season's the panic mode season before they get something new in. So yeah, that season fucking sucks.
It's just them in a house, isn't it? Basically,
pretty much, yeah.
And then, but the third, we got into it. Probably, yeah. I remember watching it. We sort of binge watched it all the way up to season 6, I want to say, or 7, and then we kind of had caught up with the show at that point, so we were having to wait for it to come out again. And then we started watching it around, it's like season 7 or 8, whatever it was, recently, and it was just like we were trying to pick it up and just going like, is the guy with the lion or the tiger or whatever?
The fact that you have to ask that speaks to the state of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and I was just like, what are we saying? And it all just got really bloated and really badly sort of, there was no artistry to it anymore. It was just like, we're going to fight the zombies now, and it was just like, yeah, but can you do something interesting with maybe? And the whole fucking Jeffrey Dean Morgan of it all was like really imposing the first, when you first meet him, and then into that first season where he's in it. But just nothing happens with them. It's just like,
so are you going to talk and lean? Those are your things, aren't they? Talking and leaning. You're going to talk and lean.
And it's kind of like it's only effective if we pay him off in some way, or we kill him, or he kills them. But like, you have to kind of pay him off. You can't have him just be this constant sort of.
Dude, nothing's changed. It's tread water. Nothing has changed, and that's the because I used to watch it with my ex all the time. I moved in with Ivan. We watched it as well. I was like, we always watch it, and then it got to a point one day I was just like, why are we doing this? Like, what is going on? Like, there's one of the spin-offs, Fear the Walking Dead. There's a bit where there are some guys in a car on a long road. Right, they're in a car. Picture a car on a long desert road, and in front of them are a lot of zombies, and I think their car breaks down. They're trying to fix the car, and the zombies come towards them, and instead of going that way, they go, oh no, and just let them eat them. And it's like you had an establishing shot of that. Why are they just? I'm not kidding. They go down to their knees and go, oh no, oh god, it's going to hurt, and it's just like, what? There's a road. There's a road behind you.
Really like that car, man. Never go back.
Yeah. All my Smash Mouth CDs are in that car. I can't leave the car. Wincom Exchange has just dropped £5 again. Thank you, Wincom Exchange. You're very generous, man. You look after us. Rich, it's about time Land of the Dead got a shake on VVB. Well, just before the break, Mark and I were going to do Land of the Dead watch party to go along with our Dawn of the Dead watch party, but it didn't happen because we had a break. So we will reschedule that soon. So there will be a special weekend watch party, a wicked weekend watch party. William,
I said Jonathan.
That's why was he? So it will. Land of the Dead will get its fair shake. It's a great movie. I rewatched it recently in preparation over the break. I thought I'd check that on. So it's going to happen. So your wishes come true. Oh bloody hell! It's another one. Oh. Colin McLean, great stream, cheers. Can we get a Seagal, Van Damme or Chuck Norris week? I maintain Delta Force 2, The Climbing Connection is set in Val Verde. Yeah, we could do something like that, kind of B-action type thing.
Yeah, I'd be up for definitely for a Seagal one, because I used to watch a lot of those. Van Damme and Chuck Norris, Van Damme less so, and Chuck Norris even less so. I don't think I've actually seen a Chuck Norris film.
I was more of a Van Damme guy than a Seagal guy myself. Ivan's a big Seagal fan. Oh, fan is complicated, like it's his early films.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably a fan. But like, I knew sort of 3 of his movies. I used to like Mark for Death. I used to like that. That was pretty.
Yeah. So yeah, that could happen. That could happen. We need to have a think. We need to probably shake things up a bit next week because we've been in the superhero zone for a couple of weeks. It's time to do something else.
A seagull slam down.
Seagull slam down. Well, we've never done Under Siege on this channel, or Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Dark Territory.
I'm my secret guilty pleasure. Well, not secret guilty pleasure. My guilty pleasure of sorts is I'm with Corey Taylor on this. There's no such thing as guilty pleasure. I mean, there is. Like, for example, if someone watches child pornography, that's a guilty pleasure. That's not what we're talking about. But Universal Soldier 2: The Return. There are two Universal Soldier 2s. The one with Bill Goldberg and Van Damme in, I really like, and it's definitely massively rubbish. And Michael J. White's in it as well. If there was some kind of way to put that against Universal Soldier, Under Siege 2: Dark Territory. I would do so.
Yeah, we could have like subtitle. What's it called? I can't even think now. Films with sequels with. What's it called when you've got a sub? It's not subtitle. It's a sub.
Yeah, it's a subtitle. It is called a subtitle, I think. Yeah, when you have.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Sequels. I would call that week after the colon. That's what I'd call that week.
yeah. Coming out the colon.
Emerging from the colon. Trust us. As if anything's ever changed.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. Shall we wrap up, Duncan? It's getting late.
Yes,
we're gonna
please.
Wrap up. I think poor old Duncan's a bit sleepy.
Sorry.
No, dude, come on. You've got a fucking job to do in the daytime and stuff. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So, guys,
job babies.
Yeah, and a baby and a doggy, and
yes.
Yeah, and a cat, of course. Poor Aslan.
Oh, fuck him.
He might be sat. He might be on his phone right now, watching this.
What's it like?
That's how cats talk.
He doesn't. He just sits around and whinges at me for food most of the time.
You've got him remarkably well trained for a cat. It's quite. Duncan's cat behaves like a dog. It's insane the level of.
I can get him to leave a room, and I can get him to wait before for my command to eat his food.
For a cat, that's spectacular. Cats just do whatever the fuck cats want. that's
yeah, true. Yeah.
For a dog, it's standard. For a cat, it's just like, wow, that's an obedient fucking cat. Jesus Christ.
He's. I mean, I accept it because actually, with the whinging comes the fact that he is just totally docile. Like, he's never scratched or bitten me or anything. Like, he's not one of those cats. He's just the nicest cat.
It's like a cushion
I
on
guess.
his feet.
Basically, yeah. Or that whinges at
you a lot. Yes, a complaining sentient cushion. In a lot of way, aren't we all a complaint? No, Richard, that's absolutely not a thing. Whoa. What's wrong with you?
An entitled sentient cushion.
Classic ESC. Right, anyway, we are wrapping up. We're going to cut to credits. I updated the credits last week, so those of you on Patreon will see that. More exclusive content coming to Patreon all the time. Next episode of my show, So You Want to Be a Filmmaker, is out on a Monday. You would have just had one on the Monday just gone. When you join those tiers, you get access to all that. I'm probably going to do a playlist of those on YouTube for your easy access. There will be a AMA stream in... This is still March. There will be an AMA stream in April. There will be another private watch party in April for you guys on Patreon. So, if you're interested in that, go check that out. There is a link in the description. And we will be back on Saturday with Alien Isolation, where I'm just going to do a really quick speed run on the hardest difficulty, which is what I've been doing for the last 6 months. So yeah, right, we're off. We love you. Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.